Part 90. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 903. Chapter 884, The Best Innate Elixir Polygonum Multiflorum. After watching Guan Yun leave, Su Junming waved his sleeves and sealed the room again. Master, this king of Chu is really showing off. The Tianxin stone is a great spiritual material. Su Junming took it and took a look. I'm afraid this gift won't be that easy to get. What does master mean? Being polite, people must ask for something. But I don't know where to ask for it. Su Junming's eyes became profound. After sending Sun Shi to rest, Su Junming returned to Chongshan residence. Put the Tianxin stone aside for the time being, pour the spiritual water into the creation spirit pond, and plant the rainbow grass on the creation spirit island. He looked up at the spiritual island suspended above the creation spirit island, which he named Creation Immortal Island. As soon as I took a step, the scenery in front of me changed drastically. In the center of the island, 100-foot-tall plum tree grew vigorously, surrounded by the thick acquired chaotic energy. The atmosphere was the most astonishing. It was the top-quality innate spiritual root Huangzongli that Su Junming moved into the immortal island of creation. In 1,000 years, it has grown to 100 feet. Not far to the right of Huangzongli is a cluster of bushes that are hundreds of acres in size and more than 10 feet high. Black roots are connected under the vigorous bushes. The strong medicinal energy rises into the sky. By moving the bronze mirror, you can clearly see an ugly little guy sitting cross-legged in it. Behind him, a black and white light emits a powerful yin-yang Taoist charm. He is Su Heshu, who was accepted as a disciple during the last Dragon Emperor's sermon. A top-quality innate elixir Polygonum Multiflorum. An existence that is comparable to Huangzongli. The whole body is surrounded by the tyrannical acquired chaotic energy, and the appearance is extraordinary. In addition to them, there are also more than 10 kinds of top-grade acquired spiritual roots such as 7-star purple ginseng, Tai's Hang Linglong grass, and Shaking Light immortal grass. As well as top-grade acquired spiritual roots including the 9-colored peach tree. Only top-grade acquired spiritual roots can withstand the baptism of acquired chaotic energy. Therefore, on the entire island of creation, there are only top-grade acquired spiritual roots and top-grade acquired spiritual roots. There are about 130 plants in total, and most of them come from Kinkan Taoist's Kinkan Cave in Wuji Mountain. With a flick of his fingers, the black copper bell struck by his fist emerged. Boom! The mysterious bells sounded. Wake up! Su Heshu, who was immersed in cultivation, opened his eyes instantly. A huge Polygonum multiflorum jumped up and instantly turned into an extremely ugly child of about 4 or 5 years old, with hands and feet of different lengths, a flat nose and protruding mouth. Su Heshu pays homage to his uncle. What did you think about what I told you last time? Disciple has thought about it and will follow Master Uncle's instructions in everything. Su Junming nodded with satisfaction. Come with me. Uncle, wait a moment. Su Heshu's body flashed with brilliance. The ultimate innate elixir Polygonum multiflorum itself appeared again, and in front of Su Junming there was only a trace of Taoist's innate yin and yang fundamental energy, holding a ball of spiritual light. This aura is Su Heshu's true spirit. He stretched out his hand, held it with his left palm, and came to the edge of the creation spirit pond. In addition to the creation spirit island, acquired creation green lotus, Bodhi golden lotus, innate white lotus, yin-yang albizia lotus, 3-grade red lotus and other elixirs, there are also 2 creation spirit fetuses here. One is the Tai Chi innate spiritual fetus that once gave birth to the spiritually luminous stone monkey Sun Wukong. One is the Tai Chi level innate spiritual fetus that once reincarnated Su Junming, Tai Zhenjun, Su Fei, and Sun Shi. Although looking at it now, the Tai Chi level spiritual fetus has entered Su Junming's Dharma eyes. But if it is used to train disciples, it is still a rare and supreme divine object. After all, Although the Taishi level innate gods are the lowest among the innate gods, they are also innate gods and are born with supernatural powers. Others may not become immortals even if they spend hundreds of years, but he only needs a few years, no more than 10 years at most, to successfully achieve Yuan Yang Wonderland. Even if you advance to Tai in the future, it will be 100 times easier than ordinary creatures. This is a difference in innate qualifications that cannot be made up for in the future. Of course, Tai Chi level innate spiritual fetuses are even more magical. Sun Shi, who has obtained the soul of the Lingming stone monkey, is barely half a Tai Chi innate spirit. In just a few hundred years, he can rival Qin Zhong, Lin Zhenying, Zhuolong, etc. 2,000 years of hard work. How could he have improved so quickly if he didn't have strong innate qualifications? You must know that as a disciple of Su Junming, everyone gets similar resources. The effort level isn't bad either. The only thing that can tell the difference is qualifications. I have used Taoist's innate spiritual energy for so long. I originally planned to keep it for my own use, but now it's easier for you, kid. With a wave of his left hand, the yin and yang spiritual light held Su Heshu's true spirit and flew into the Tai Chi innate spiritual fetus. He reached out and pointed, and then a spiritual light disappeared. I will teach you the Yin Yang Sutra, practice it well, and you will naturally meet your master after you transform. Thank you, uncle. The billowing spiritual energy flew into the spiritual stone, and the voice quickly fell silent. Although there is the foundation laid by Su Junming before, it will take some time for Su Heshu to transform. After examining it for a moment, he sat down cross-legged in the pavilion next to him. Opening the jade box placed on the stone table, there was an emerald green willow branch inside. There were 4 things in his core treasure house. The black seed has transformed into the best innate spiritual root, Huangzongli. Zhurong's residual blood and Jamang's residual blood have been transformed into the real ancestral witch essence and blood by his powerful power of time retrieval. Only this willow branch, the last seal, has always been difficult to understand. Although his understanding of the space Dao and the sealing Dao has advanced to the Daluo realm, it is still difficult to fully comprehend them. It was as if there was a strong will in the dark, preventing him from moving forward. After thinking about it for a while, but still unable to make any progress, Su Junming had no choice but to give up. He made some calculations, and it seemed that only if he advanced to Daluo, could he truly break through this restriction and see the core thing. Daluo realm. Shake his head slightly. If he had just practiced Qi, he would have advanced to Daluo by now. But if you want to break through the martial arts dual cultivation, the difficulty is not 1 + 1 = 2, but greater than 10. The night passed quickly. Early the next morning, a palace servant knocked on the door of Su Junming's master and apprentice. Master Su, Your Majesty asked me to take Master Xian and his disciples to Xifang Garden for breakfast. Please, father-in-law, please lead the way. Xifang Garden is a garden in Huayang Palace, with mountains, rocks, trees, flowers, fish, and insects. After careful arrangement, the scenery is beautiful. In a magnificent pavilion facing the lake, Xiao Mian quickly came up to meet him. Ma'am, did you have a good rest last night? Thank you to King Liang for your hospitality. Master and disciple Pandao have a good rest. In addition, I would also like to thank King Liang for the treasure. Pandao is very grateful. Haha, as long as you are satisfied. Chongshan Academy has killed demons for the people of Liang State and maintained peace. As the leader of a country, I should comply with the public opinion of the world and thank the Taoist master. Prince Liang is too polite. Please, please, please. After the guests and hosts were seated. Our country in Liang is no more powerful than Chongshan, and we don't have many spiritual objects. I simply prepared a few. I hope you won't dislike them. The king of Liang is too modest. Chongshan Academy, cannot afford this Tai spirit fruit to entertain guests. Haha, use it slowly if you are a real person. That poor Taoist would be disrespectful. After just a few bites, a waiter came flying over. Your Majesty, Ao Xiao, the eldest prince of the Dragon Lord of Dongting Lake, is here to visit. Please. Not long after, a young man wearing a brocade robe, tall and majestic, with Tai true immortal cultivation, walked in with his head held high. After sweeping his piercing eyes over Chen Ling, Sun Shi, and Su Junming, he cupped his fists and saluted. Ao Xiao pays homage to His Majesty the King of Liang, Master Chongshan. After Su Junming nodded in greeting, he didn't say much. The prince is exempt from gifts. Come and bring a pair of bowls and chopsticks to the prince. Thank you, Your Majesty. After Ao Xiao sat down. The prince is not in Dongting to receive blessings. How come he has time to come to my Huayang Palace? My father heard that Master Chongshan was staying at Your Majesty's house, and he specially asked me to invite him to the Dragon Palace to express his admiration. It turns out it's for real people. Facing their gazes, Su Junming said calmly. Long Jun is really well informed. Pandeo only arrived at Zhongling City yesterday afternoon, and Long Jun learned about it this morning. Their eyes flashed, and Xiao Xian said, 100 years ago, Zhenren defeated Bai Ying, the ancestor of the White Tiger clan, in a battle, and his reputation spread throughout the world. Now, the three patriarchs of Chongshan Academy, the 5 virtue immortals, and the true Lord Tai are both de Luo. As the headmaster of Chongshan, the immortal has a respected status. Who in the world doesn't want to make friends with the immortal? Therefore, there are many forces that pay attention to the real person's whereabouts, and I and Dragon Lord Dongting are just 2 of them. What Your Majesty said is true. Ever since the Chongshan sect opened the Jingnan branch, I, the Dongting Lake branch, have been paying close attention to it. Only in this way can we learn about it in time after the real person enters Zhongling City. I also hope that you, Master, will not dislike us for presumptuously visiting Dongting Water Mansion to appease my father's admiration and friendship. Ao Xiao bowed deeply and his attitude was very low. Su Junming smiled lightly. Since Lord Long sincerely invites you, Pandeo can't bear to refuse. Thank you, Misato. Ao Xiao said happily. Don't know when to set off. If the real person is willing, we can set off now. Not now, I can't live up to His Majesty Prince Liang's delicacies. He picked up the spiritual fruit on the table and took a bite. It's all up to the real person to decide, as long as it's before noon. In this way, Pandeo can rest assured. After a leisurely breakfast, accompanied by Xiao Xian and Ao Xiao, we visited Huayang Palace and Zhongling City before flying towards Dongting Lake. Zhongling City and Dongting Lake are about 800 miles apart. In the small thousand world, this is a long distance, but in the earthly immortal world, it can be said to be very close. Within a moment, accompanied by extremely rich water vapor, a vast expanse of water appeared in front of us. The Dongting Lake in the earthly immortal realm is known as the 9 lakes in the world. It spans 80 million miles and has rippling blue waves. Although the Dragon King of Dongting who lives under the water is not as good as the Dragon King of the 4 seas, he is still a powerful Tai Xian. Under the leadership of Ao Xiao, Master Su Junming and his apprentice quickly went deep into the water and arrived at the Crystal Palace. Dongting Dragon Lord Ao Chong, who had already received the news, was now leading a group of dragon sons, dragon girls, shrimp soldiers, and crab generals 5 miles out of the Crystal Palace to greet him. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 904. Chapter 885, Destroy Taiyan and Kill the Ghost Emperor, Part 1. Ao Chong, the Dragon King of Xiaolong Dongting Lake, has met the real person Chongshan. Seeing Su Junming flying towards him, Ao Chong stepped forward quickly and bowed his head to the ground with a very respectful expression. Smile lightly. No need to be polite, Mr. Long, please get up. The arrival of the real Jade Toe is really a supreme honor for our dragon clan of Dongting Lake. I would also like to ask the real person to follow the little dragon to the Dragon Palace and take a seat. Please, Mr. Long. Real people please go first. Under the leadership of Ao Chong, the three masters and apprentices of Su Junming, under the watchful eyes of the surrounding dragons and grandsons, passed through the crystal archway, stepped on the coral stone steps, and arrived at a splendid and gorgeous hall. The moment the three masters and disciples stepped in, the surroundings surged and the scenery suddenly changed. Endless black mist replaced the previously gorgeous palace. I couldn't tell the difference between east and west, north and south, and there were sounds of howling ghosts and wolves all around, as if I had fallen into the 9 nether hells in a moment. Ha ha! Amidst the wild laughter, a middle-aged man wearing a black dragon robe, a flat crown, and a majestic look appeared in the air. Su Junming, do you know me? She glanced at him lightly. Of course I know you, Taiyan old ghost. Be bold. Tua Bufeng shouted angrily. You won't kneel down when you see this emperor. The violent pressure came out, but what surprised him was that Su Junming and the 2 disciples next to him seemed to be empty. No matter how he activated his magic power, it had no effect at all. Are you surprised? Do you really think that since you started from Lingling County and secretly monitored Pandeo would not be aware of it? Tua Bufeng's expression gradually darkened. My sky escape mirror is the great Luo Lingbao. How could you possibly detect it? Someone must have tipped off. Those people who come into contact with Pandeo have all been poisoned by you. Unless they are dead, how can they dare to remind Pandeo? As for the great Luo Lingbao you mentioned. Haha, you want to hide a mere Lingbao from me? Tua Bufeng's eyes gradually became sharper and murderous intent overflowed. Even if I can't hide it from you, I will kill you first today, and then destroy your Chongshan Academy. You alone are not qualified. And you won't have a chance in the future. Tua Bufeng's expression changed slightly. No questions asked. As soon as his heart moved, the surrounding formations rotated instantly, and the howling ghostly wind, like a strong wind and huge waves, with a bang sound, turned Su Junming's master and disciple into scum. Clone. Tua Bufeng understood instantly. But what he didn't understand was how the other party could hide it from him. Not good. Warning signs rose in his heart, he stretched out his hand, and a big black umbrella slowly flew into his hand. Holding the precious umbrella in his arms, his figure flew down, flying straight towards the earth. Outside the Crystal Palace, in the mustard seed space, a bronze mirror hangs high above Su Junming's head, with Sun Shi and Chen Lingan sitting next to him. Now that he knew it was a trap, Su Junming certainly wouldn't rush in blindly. Therefore, the bronze mirror was activated, and the 3 masters and disciples entered in a cloned form. With the bronze mirror covering up, of course Tua Bufeng couldn't see through it. Master, why did he run away? It makes no sense that people are knocking on our door and we are still indifferent. Sun Shi's eyes lit up and his eyes became hot. You can't get involved in low-level fighting skills, so don't stir up trouble. Stay here and level the Dongting Dragon Palace for me. Where's the one to the east? Xiao Mian is out of luck, so let's keep him for now. Once Xiao Xian is destroyed, war will break out in the Chu Kingdom. It would be fine if Chongshan Academy takes its place, but he has no intention of continuing to expand northward. In this case, it is better not to move. Moreover, even if he didn't take action, Xiao Mian wouldn't live for many years. The day when the Tang dynasty went south was the day when he died. It will not be too late to take revenge then. After explaining to Sun Shi and handing over the Dongting Dragon Palace to him, his body fell and quickly disappeared into the earth. Millions of feet below, wrapped in endless yin qi, is a cocoon-shaped gray-black cave world. From the outside, It is only 10,000 feet in size, but inside it contains a world of underworld that is 300 million miles away. A mustard seed containing Sumeru is nothing more than this. Outside the world, Tuabafeng led 1,000,000 ghost troops and was ready. Opposite them were the Dragon Emperor, who was wearing a white robe and a crane cloak over his shoulders, and the true Lord Tai, who was wearing a bright red Taoist robe, lying on his back on a white cloud, with his drunken eyes. "You really want to fight with me to the death of the Taiyan ghost sect," Tuabafeng said sternly. "Is this guy's brain broken? We are all at war with each other, and yet he still asks such stupid things," Tai Zhenjun said. The Dragon Emperor's cold eyes were filled with murderous intent. "Are you coming? Or am I coming? Let me do it. At least the fifth master broke through before you. With the help of the Hunyuan divine sect over the years, although he has not advanced, his magic power has become more than 10 times stronger. But why haven't I arrived yet? I'm already here." Following the voice, Su Junming flew over. "Then I'll take action." Tai Zhenjun rubbed his hands, his eyes filled with anticipation. "Su Junming, Dragon Emperor, Tai Zhenjun, I have the Taiyan cave heaven in my hands, and there is nothing you can do about me. Moreover, I have been thrown into Buddhism, and now I am the divine mighty Vajra Bodhisattva personally conferred by the Tathagata. You want to stir up trouble between Chongshan and a war in Buddhism?" Tuabafeng asked sharply. "If Buddhism really wants to become an enemy of our Chongshan Academy for someone like you, then they are not far from destruction. Do it." Su Junming gave the order. The five-color light behind the Dragon Emperor soared into the sky, and the mighty five-element divine light, like a five-color sacred mountain, crashed down with the power of destroying the heaven and the earth. The current five elements of divine light are metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, and the five great worlds. A single one is comparable to the middle-grade spiritual treasure of Deluo. The combination of five of them and the power of the five elements are even more earth-shattering. Tuabafeng saw this and his expression changed drastically. He never thought before that the power of this five-color divine light could be so powerful. "Quickly retreat into the Taiyan ghost world." After that, he turned around and ran away. The ghost general behind him who had reached the Tai realm escaped so fast that he ran away as soon as he saw something bad. The remaining ghost generals in the Yuan-Yang realm and the ghost soldiers who have not yet become immortals are in dire straits. Because the Dragon Emperor's great five elements divine light is too powerful and has insufficient mana, it cannot be fully controlled, resulting in a slow speed, which is also for the same realm. In the eyes of Yuan-Yang realm monks, it is still approaching the extreme. With a volley, millions of ghost soldiers disappeared instantly. The astonishing five-element divine light, like an ancient sacred mountain, hit the Taiyan ghost world with huge power. In an instant, the brilliance skyrocketed. The powerful shockwave was like a flash flood, flying in all directions. The deafening thunder rumbled 1,000,000 miles away. Su Junming stretched out his hand and pointed. A majestic divine gate, with its majestic and domineering power, instantly suppressed all the shock waves flying upward. Millions of feet deep in the earth, although it is deep, it can still shake the surface. If we ignore it and cause the earth dragon to stand up, the land of Jingxiang will be flooded with blood. Even so, the earth within 1,000,000 miles radius still trembled. Although the amplitude is not large, even ordinary people can detect the vibrations underground. As for the monks with keen senses, it is even clearer. Has it started yet? Xiao Mian, who was sitting in Huayang Palace, was shocked and stood up. His expression was complicated, and there was fear in his eyes. What happened? The entire monks in Zhongling city were excited. They all fled underground. It is human nature to watch the excitement, and monks are no exception. At this moment, millions of feet deep underground, the Taiyan ghost realm was hit by the great five elements divine light and flew thousands of feet away. The surrounding yin qi was surging endlessly, as if a storm was passing through. Tuoba Feng, who is connected to the soul of the Taoian ghost realm, can clearly sense the power of the five-color divine light. If he didn't have the support of this 3 trillion-mile underworld, and only relied on the body of Deluo celestial immortal, he would have been beaten into powder by the other party in one encounter. What kind of treasure is this five-color divine light that has such power? Just when he was inexplicably shocked, a feeling of panic rose from the spiritual platform. It's as if the knife is hanging on the neck and he will die in the next moment. What happened? He quickly activated the escape sky mirror and looked outside. But seeing the fat man in red, Tai Zhenjun didn't know when a broken bronze sword appeared in his hand. This broken sword has an ancient style, with simple decorations and nothing surprising. But the moment I saw it, the warning signs in my heart were heightened. Not caring about hiding it, with a wave of his hand, an old black umbrella soared into the sky. Netherworld Yin Magic Umbrella. Tuoba Feng changed his finger skills and used the power of the Taoian ghost realm to activate this great Luo Lingbao. The black umbrella's light surged and turned into an extremely thick black cloud, shrouding the entire Taoian ghost realm. Deluo middle grade spiritual treasure? Unfortunately, it's still far behind. Su Junming shook his head. Along with the input of Tai Zhenjun's magic power, a faint green light emerged from the broken bronze sword. At the same time, an earth-shaking sharp energy rose into the sky. Fortunately, Su Junming's Hunyuan divine gate sealed millions of miles of sky, otherwise this sharp energy would spread and shake the entire earthly immortal world. Cut. Tai Zhenjun, who input 80% of his mana, waved in the air. The broken bronze sword's light surged. A lilac divine light transcended time, space, and even heaven and earth. It flashed away at an astonishing speed before anyone could react. The divine light, which was extremely fast and as bright as the sun and moon, was extremely beautiful and extremely sharp. In the Taoian ghost realm, Tuoba Feng looked dull, as if he didn't believe what he was seeing. How can it be? A tiny crack appeared on his face. The next moment, the main and deputy ghost bodies formed two halves from the middle. Bang, the body exploded, and the thick yin qi scattered in all directions. Kaka kaka. Like the sound of breaking glass, the black fog that filled the upper part of the Taoian ghost realm quickly faded, and the two halves of the black umbrella fell down. At the same time, the entire Taoian ghost world cracked in the middle, and the suppressed yin energy surged out from the crack like a high-pressure steamer. Su Junming raised the Hunyuan divine gate, and a vast divine light shone down. Bring the torn Taoian ghost world into the void space in the body door. In the past, when Tuoba Feng, the lord of the world, was around, he was unable to do anything to the Taoian ghost realm. Now that Tuoba Feng had fallen and the Taoian ghost realm was shattered, he could do whatever he wanted. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 905. Grandma, this sword is so powerful. With 80% of my mana, I just activated its first layer of restrictions, shattered the Taoian ghost realm and killed Tuoba Peak. True Lord Tai looked at the broken sword in his hand, eyes fiery. If you don't want to enjoy the feeling of being drained after just one use, then use it less, the Dragon Emperor said coldly. Feeling that his dantian was almost bottoming out, the heat in Tai Zhenjun's eyes instantly faded away. Although the baby is good, it is a bit too powerful for him now. After a few reluctant glances, he threw it to Su Junming. Take it away, it will make Fifth Master feel itchy. Put away the broken bronze sword. Let's go. Such a big movement will attract too many prying eyes. I don't want to expose all the family background of Chongshan Academy yet. The Dragon Emperor nodded, and Wutu divine light flashed behind him. The soil layer spread out by the broken bronze sword was instantly closed. Zhengjin divine light flashed, and all the remaining sword energy was taken away. Let's go. A space channel opened in front of the three people. After stepping in, it disappeared instantly. Just a moment after the three people left, a powerful Buddha's light suddenly appeared in this empty underground space. The Buddha's light fell to the ground and turned into an old monk wearing a yellow cassock, holding a 9-ring tin staff, and a jewel on his head. He was Ksatagarbha Bodhisattva. Disappeared. Ever since he received Tuoba Feng's call for help, he rushed over quickly. Unexpectedly, the Taiyan ghost world has disappeared before others arrived. It is estimated that Tuoba Feng's fate has completely disappeared, which means that he has completely fallen. To be able to kill Tuoba Peak, who has Taiyan ghost realm to rely on, in such a short time, the strength of Chongshan Academy is much stronger than imagined. The tyrannical consciousness swept across, and after gaining nothing, he retreated. The next moment, a middle-aged woman wearing a red palace dress, with high hair and a luxurious temperament, appeared here. That Buddha's light just now was Ksatagarbha? Was it him who took action to destroy the Taiyan ghost sect? After thinking for a while, he shook his head. Buddhist thief Tutu always advertises his compassion. When dealing with enemies, he always surrenders and transforms them first, and then considers killing them completely. Looking at the power of the Buddha's light, it doesn't look like he is transforming. The woman in palace clothes shook her head, checked for a while and found nothing, and then left. After the two of them, waves of people came. Within a day or two, the news that the Taiyan ghost realm was destroyed and that the ghost emperor Tuoba Feng was killed spread throughout the earthly immortal realm. In thousands of years, this is the first Deludo-level monk to fall in the earthly immortal world. The shock to the world can be imagined. But what is even more shocking is that the person who did it was Chongshan Academy. I don't know where the news came from, but everyone agrees with this judgment. After all, in the past 3 years, Chongshan Academy has taken away the Jingxiang land enjoyed by Taiyan ghost sect, and its sphere of influence has been taken away. No one would let it go. At the same time, it also gives people a clearer understanding of the strength of Chongshan Academy. Tuoba Feng, the Taiyan ghost emperor, is a veteran leader, and he has Taiyan ghost realm as his support. When Quanzhen Taoist, Songfeng Taoist and Kong Gyangzi joined forces, they failed to eradicate the Taiyan ghost sect and killed Tuoba Feng, so they had to withdraw. The land of Jingxiang. This shows how powerful this old ghost is. Now there are two great Luo from Chongshan Academy, and they have the ability to kill Tuoba Feng not long after their achievements, which is really unbelievable. But what is even more shocking is that it took less than 2/4 of an hour from the beginning to the end of the war. This means that the fighting between the two sides is almost one-sided. Is there a third great Luo in Chongshan Academy? It's impossible. Even the 3 Luo Celestials can't sweep across the Taiyan ghost sect in such a short period of time. Unless they are masters in the middle Luo period. It is also possible that there is a valuable treasure in Chongshan Academy. The immortals discussed and speculated a lot. Zhuchuan, Jingchenzi, Fuyanzi, and others, who had known each other before and had some friendship with each other, flew their swords and sent letters to seek confirmation. "Give these back to them," Su Junming said. Sun Shi nodded, took the talisman book and retreated. "It seems that we have made a lot of noise this time. Everyone who knows us or doesn't know us is coming to ask," Tai Zhenjun said after taking a sip of wine. "It will be beneficial to us to intimidate them," the Dragon Emperor said coldly. Su Junming nodded in agreement. After this war, Li Tang will not act rashly in the future with the support of Buddhism. With a wave of his left hand, a big black umbrella flew into Zhenjun Tai's hand, a bronze mirror radiating with aura flew into Dragon Emperor's hand. These two pieces were the trophies they got from Tuoba Peak. 2 Great Luo Lingbao. The Netherworld demonic umbrella is Tuoba Peak's natal immortal treasure, with 2 restrictions. The escape sky mirror is stronger and has 3 restrictions. I have retrained the heaven escape mirror, and now it has a new level of restriction. The nether umbrella is a ghost magic weapon. I only repaired it and did not practice it again. He glanced at Tai Genjun and said, anyway, you are using it to suppress Tai Golden Ship, that's enough. Then you have to refine another furnace of De Luo Ren Huang Dan for me, otherwise you will feel unbalanced. Roll. Su Junming refused cleanly. He hasn't gotten anything yet. All the benefits have fallen into their hands, and they are still not satisfied. If you don't give it, I won't give it. Why are you so angry? Tai Genjun muttered lazily. What do you plan to do with the yin earth of Tai Ghost Realm? Asked the Dragon Emperor. Give 1/3 to Ao Tien first, and wait for the rest after the second child is born. His Kinkan diagram is a top-notch innate spiritual treasure that can transform yin and yang and derive infinite. Otherwise, such a huge world of yin earth, integrating into the world of Chongshan will only cause an imbalance of yin and yang, and the inversion of humans and ghosts, Su Junming said. After the Dragon Emperor nodded, he waved his hand and a magic bag flew into Su Junming's hand. Open it and take a look. There's a lot of stuff. Who gave it to me? Liang Wang Xiao Xian. After Tuoba Feng was killed by us, this guy was frightened. Not only did he send a large amount of property, but he also handed over Ziping County to us. Ziping County is a county in the south of Guiyang County. It belongs to the Chu state in name, but in fact it is controlled by some wealthy families and barbarians. Of course, to Chongshan Academy, they are just a bunch of local chickens and dogs, and they can live in peace overnight. This has saved us a lot of trouble, Tai Genjun said. The land of 3 counties is not too small. Let's digest it first, and then move west to occupy Xi'an County, and then we will be on the border with Portugal, Su Junming said. Portugal is a small country covering an area of 80 million square miles. Located at the junction of the Sui dynasty and the Southern Han dynasty, it is also the place that Chongshan Academy plans to occupy. The Dragon Emperor nodded. You all go back, it's time for me to continue heading north. Tai Genjun and Dragon Emperor nodded and walked away. About 500 miles north of Zhongling City is the mighty Yangtze River. This great river in Nanzan Buzhu, second only to the Tongtian River, stretches across hundreds of countries, millions of miles across, and tens of thousands of miles wide, with only one surface of water. Looking from a distance, it seems like you are on the sea. Master, let's cross the river and go north, Sun Shi said. No, let's take a boat down the river and enjoy the scenery on both sides of the Yangtze River. Su Junming stretched out his hand and pointed, and endless wood energy condensed. In just a moment, a small boat with black awnings had condensed and formed. Walk. After saying that, he took a step forward, his clothes were flying, and he was flying against the wind, and soon landed on the bow of the ship. Master, can such a small boat accommodate me? Chen Ling was a little worried. He had now grown to hundreds of feet and was extremely heavy. When the boat got on board, it sank instantly. Silly boy, your master is proficient in weapon refining. Although he just did it casually, this ship is not an ordinary thing. After somersaulting, Sun Shi had already landed on the bow of the boat. Chen Ling no longer hesitated and quickly followed. The moment he landed in the boat, his eyes were dazzled. The awning boat, which looked only 3 feet wide from the outside, actually contained 100 feet of space inside. His feet were even more stable, and no matter how hard he exerted himself, he could not feel any shaking. What do you think, silly boy? Sun Shi smiled. Master really has magical powers. Looking at the back not far away, Chen Ling's face was filled with admiration. Let's go and practice with Master. Taking him into the cabin of the awning boat, Chen Ling found that this was another world. Surrounded by flowers and willows, with green mountains in the distance, and a red sun hanging in the sky, the scenery is as beautiful as a paradise. Master, is this You will be able to see through the little tricks used by your master when you advance to the Tai realm. Okay, let's not talk about this and give me the Dao fist again. Yes. Chen Ling set up his posture and started practicing. Although Dao fist is a basic boxing technique, it can be used for body training together with the magic weapon that changes gravity. Moreover, in the cultivation of martial arts, even if a tall building rises from the ground, the most complicated moves should be started from the simplest. Once you have mastered the Dao fist, you can combine it with advanced combat skills in the future to get twice the result with half the effort. When Sun Shi was teaching, Su Junming sat leisurely on the bow of the boat, with his right hand stretched out, and a green bamboo staff emerged. Soon a piece of fishing line grew out of the front part of the bamboo stick and fell into the river. Su Junming sat cross-legged at the stern of the boat. With a push of his magic power, the awning boat broke through the waves and sailed downstream quickly. For monks, time is always a luxury. Just 3 days flew by. Su Junming, who had been sitting at the stern of the boat, didn't catch a single fish. It's not that he is not skilled, but that he planned to go fishing with Zhang Taigong on a whim, but of course he came up empty-handed. Something moved in my heart. Come out. The river was rolling, and soon a dragon girl wearing a purple robe, with a luxurious and beautiful temperament, emerged from the water with 2 yakshas. Ao Bing, the 3rd princess of the Yangtze River Dragon Palace, pays homage to Master Chongshan. I have no contact with your Yangtze River Dragon Palace. Why are you here? My father has always admired the beauty of the real person, but he has never had the chance to visit Lingling, and he deeply regrets it. Today, he suddenly heard that the yaksha patrolling the river had discovered the whereabouts of the real person. He was so happy that he immediately asked the little girl to come and invite the real person to the palace. Su, my father has already prepared a banquet and prepared generous gifts for the real person, Ao Bing said respectfully. He smiled faintly, raised his hand, and the fishing rod disappeared from his palm. I've heard the same thing in Zhongling City. If Pandeo hadn't been a little vigilant, I would have been taken advantage of now. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 906. Chapter 887, The Great Battle at the End of the Sui Dynasty, The Heroes of Weigong. Ao Bing's expression tightened and he quickly bowed and saluted. The real person is kind. Although the Dongting Lake Dragon clan comes from my Yangtze River Dragon clan, that happened 30,000 years ago. There has been no contact between the two parties for a long time. I don't know that they are so bold and dare to collude with the Taoist ghost sect and conspire to frame the real person. Fortunately, the real person has noticed it early and helped our Yangtze River Dragon clan to eliminate this great harm. You have to pick yourselves very clean, Su Junming said calmly. Sweat dropped from Ao Bing's forehead. With the remaining power of destroying the Taoist ghost sect, she couldn't help but be afraid. Where are your father and brother? How come you, a little girl, are asked to come here to talk to Pandeo? My father and brother are all waiting for the real person to arrive in the Dragon Palace, but they have never come here. I see. Stand up slowly. You go back and tell them that Pandeo can forget about the Dongting Lake incident, but from today on, those 8 million miles of lakes will no longer have anything to do with your Yangtze Dragon clan. The water aura in Dongting Lake is extremely rich, and it can be used as a home for the disciples of Chongshan Academy who specialize in water magic. Xiaolong obeys. You can go now. Ao Bing took out a jade bottle from his hair bag and handed it over. Master, this is the moonlight true water treasured by my Yangtze Dragon clan. Please accept it. Yuehua true water is the power of the 9-day moonlight, combined with the essence of sunflower water, and is condensed into Deluo lower grade spiritual water. It is extremely precious. Even if the Yangtze Dragon clan occupies millions of miles of the Yangtze River, and the water vapor is so rich, it would still take tens of thousands of years to condense it into what is in the bottle. Thank your father for me. Xiaolong will definitely bring the real person's words to his father. After Su Junming nodded, he waved his sleeves and the awning boat disappeared instantly. Ao Bing's pupils shrank, and no matter whether she used her spiritual sense or the dragon's innate magical power, she could not find any trace of spiritual energy fluctuations. True Lord Chongshan is indeed of a very high level. He activated his magic power and sank into the river, transforming into the body of a 1,000-foot white dragon. After swimming forward for hundreds of thousands of miles, a huge fjord appeared not far away. The white dragon protruded a breath of dragon energy, and the light flashed from nowhere, revealing a huge archway. After Bailong flew in, a huge crystal palace appeared in front of him. He gathered his magic power and became a human body. Third Princess. Meet the third princess. The soldiers patrolling around stopped to salute when they saw her. After nodding, go straight into the coral hall of the Crystal Palace. Here, Ao Fang, the Dragon King of the Yangtze River, is waiting anxiously. When he saw his daughter coming in, he quickly responded. Master Chongshan didn't come. Ao Bing shook his head. Third sister, what did Master Chongshan say? The eldest prince Ao Ling asked quickly. Master Chongshan will let bygones be bygones. But we are leaving Dongting Lake and we, the Yangtze Dragon clan, are not allowed to interfere anymore. Real? Ao Bing nodded. Did you give me the Yuehua spiritual water? Give it, the real person has accepted it. Stopping here, Ao Fang, Ao Ling and all the dragons breathed a sigh of relief. Just accept it, just accept it. Ao Seeing felt happy. Finally, there is no need to worry that Chongshan Academy is angry with his Yangtze Dragon clan. Although Dongting Lake is missing, it is not a great loss for the Yangtze Dragon clan. Moreover, Ao Chong, the Dragon King of Dongting, has always been arrogant, and he would not feel bad even if he died. Ao Bing looked at his father and brother celebrating each other, feeling disappointed in his heart. They have now had their minds corroded by a life of worry-free food and clothing, and they are muddle along. They have long lost the spirit of the dragon clan in ancient times to conquer the world and dominate the wilderness. I can't stay here anymore, otherwise I will become like them sooner or later. Master, are we not going to the Yangtze River? In a small town in Jiangbei, Sun Shi asked after the master and apprentice had eaten and drank. No, let's go north here. In 3 days, Su Junming had made enough boats. Having lost the sense of freshness, he still feels that it is more suitable for him to keep his feet on the ground and appreciate the changing scenery and customs around him. Sun Shi and Chen Ling didn't care, they didn't like water very much either. After paying for their meals, the 3 masters and apprentices set out on the road. This is already the boundary of Yong'an County, with dense population and prosperous people's livelihood. There are many villages on both sides of the official road, which is completely different from the previous ones in Jiangnan, where mountains are connected to mountains and rivers are connected to water. But compared to the tranquility in the south of the Yangtze River, the further north you go here, the more chaotic it becomes. Bandits who dominate the mountains can be seen everywhere. Along the way, Su Junming cleared thousands of gangs and established millions of people in Yong'an County alone. Giang County, Runan County, and more. Of course, except for a few ruthless gangsters who committed extremely evil crimes, most of them were just forced by the officials to fight against the people. Most of them were sent to the world of the Divine Mountain outside the world by him and dealt with according to the rules of Chongshan Academy. Master, look. In fact, he saw it without Sun Shi pointing his finger. In the sky ahead, there was a blood-red evil spirit. This evil spirit spreads thousands of miles and reaches the sky. The ferocious killing, the elixir of energy and blood, can be felt from 1,000,000 miles away, the sounds of the battle formations, the soldiers fighting and the roaring like thunder. Looking at the scale of this evil spirit, I'm afraid tens of millions of troops will fight against it, Sun Shi said. Come on, let's go take a look. The evil spirit of the battle formation can be overcome by all means. Even Tai Immortal did not dare to rush straight into the military formation, otherwise he would be rushed by the evil spirit, which would scatter his magic power at best, or invade his mind and lead him to become possessed. Therefore, many of the onlookers around are millions of miles away. But Su Junming is different. He is a martial arts practitioner and does not want to be as afraid of evil spirits as a pure Qi practitioner. And he also has a bronze mirror to protect his mind. With the thought in his heart, numerous space barriers opened up. After protecting Sun Shi and Chen Ling, the three masters and disciples flew forward. After arriving within 100,000 miles, Su Junming stopped. It's not that he can't continue to get closer, but he can already see clearly enough here. But see you. On the huge plain below, the Sui army wearing black armor and flying red flags were fighting with soldiers wearing yellow armor and flying black flags. Along the way, the three masters and apprentices, who had met many times, knew that those soldiers with yellow armor and black flags were the famous Weigong army. It was obvious that the Weigong army had a large number of people, 7 to 8 million in total. After spreading out for tens of thousands of miles, the Huangjia army surrounded the Sui army, which was only 1 or 2 million in number. However, it was obvious that the Sui army was more well trained. Although they were small in number, they were able to withstand the offensive of Weigong's army. But the Sui army, with its retreat route cut off, would only be defeated sooner or later. Master, is that Li Mi? Look in the direction of Sun Shi's finger. On a small hillside, a black flag with a height of 100 feet stood proudly. The black flag has a big word written in yellow letters. Under the banner of Li Zi, a tall middle-aged man wearing yellow armor, a wild goose feather helmet, a red cloak on the back, a short beard on the chin, 8 feet tall, holding a sword in his left hand, was guarded by an elite army in the middle. Through the bronze mirror, you can clearly see the 3,000 feet long purple dragon aura above his head. This dragon spirit has already grown 5 claws, a dragon tail and a dragon head, and only needs 2 dragon horns to be truly complete. Compared with Xiao Mian's imperial dragon Qi, it was several times stronger. Among the Weigong army, the only one who has such a strong imperial dragon spirit is Li Mi besides Zai Rang. But it is obviously impossible to be Zai Rang under the banner of Li. This person is Li Mi. I didn't expect that the person who would replace the Sui dynasty in the future would look like this, Sun Shi said after examining it for a moment. Su Junming's eyes flashed. Now the entire Sui spiritual world believes that Li Mi will succeed the Sui dynasty. In fact, only a few people understand that in the destiny of Li Daiyang, Li is not Li Mi, but Li Yuan. After briefly examining Li Mi, Su Junming shifted his gaze. He should be Wei Zheng. Looking at the black-faced man standing on the left side of Li Mi, his luck steamed from the top of his head, turning into a mythical beast with long black hair, a body like a sheep, and a single horn. Su Junming is very familiar with this mythical beast. The Dragon Emperor's mount is such a hechi. Hechi represents fairness and strictness. Generally, ministers with such luck on their heads are upright and upright people. Among the Weigong army, only Wei Zheng was so lucky. In addition to Wei Zheng standing on the left side of Li Mi, there was also a tall man wearing white armor, 9 feet tall, and holding a huge bow on his right side. Strong energy and blood steamed up, turning into a large bloody eagle 3 feet above his head. To have the strength of a high-ranking general is extraordinary. Chu pointed his fingers and figured out the identity of this person. The white-robed sharpshooter Wang Bodang, it turns out to be him. The 5 tiger generals of Weigong, Qin Kaiang, Chen Yaojin, and Luo Chengdu, all surrendered to the Tang dynasty, with the exception of Shan Xiangxin and Wang Bodang. Shan Xiangxin did it because he had a brother-killing feud with Li Shimin, while Wang Bodang did it because of his loyalty to Li Mi. He would rather die in battle than surrender to Li Tang. This kind of behavior that goes against good birds choose trees to roost will be regarded as foolish loyalty in the eyes of later generations, but in Su Junming's view, this kind of character is more precious. Not everyone can rather die than surrender. Soon he found a 9-foot-tall general wearing yellow armor among Wei Gong's army, holding a spear. Among the generals, he has the strongest luck, transforming into the shape of a unicorn, which is indescribably precious. Su Siji. I looked around again but couldn't find Chen Yaojin. As for the Sui army, there are 3 people with the strongest cultivation and the strongest luck. The first one was wearing black armor, holding an iron gun, and riding on a tall red horse. His falcon-like eyes were staring at the battlefield with a majestic and dignified aura. Behind it is a red banner with a big word Zhang written on it. Zhang Suchuo. Master, this man has evil marks on his face, and he will probably die here, Sun Shi said. With a bronze mirror in hand, you can easily observe other people's luck. At this moment, the giant red tiger above Zhang Suchuo's head was beginning to show signs of disintegration. The collapse of a person's luck is the beginning of death. What do you think of this person? Su Junming asked. Looking at his martial arts training, he has reached the rank of junior general, and he doesn't look like he comes from a section. To be able to have such martial arts training at such a young age shows that his character, perseverance, understanding, and aptitude are all excellent. Su Junming nodded. Zhang Suchuo is indeed a rare martial arts wizard. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 907. Chapter 888, Zhang Suchuo values love and justice. Dong dong. Suddenly, a huge drum sound resounded throughout the world. The Sui army changed their formation upon hearing the news. The circular array turned into a huge cone-shaped array. Master, Master, look, the Sui army has begun to break through. Chen Ling suddenly exclaimed. Regardless of his size, Su Junming and Sun Shi also saw it. A young general wearing black armor and carrying a large iron gun rushed straight towards the Wei Gong army formation, taking the lead and acting as an arrow. Those who stand in his way are invincible, and Wei Gong's battle formation is quickly disintegrated by him. Zhang Suchuo from the rear led the elite of the Chinese army to expand the gap he had opened. Finally, a general wearing red copper armor and holding 2 black whips led the army to the rear. The steel whip brought up bursts of strong wind when it was swung, making it impossible for anyone on the left or right to get close, demonstrating its great strength. Su Junming quickly calculated that the young general who was the pioneer was the famous Luo Shixin. The general behind the palace is the door god of later generations, Qin Kaiang and Qin Shibao, one of the 24 ministers of Linjian Pavilion in the Tang dynasty. It can be seen that the Sui army is more well-trained. Although the Wei Gong army tried its best, the Sui army still broke the blockade and broke out of the siege. But the Sui army was also human. The rear army, which was under tremendous pressure, gradually lost touch with the Chinese army under the powerful offensive of the Wei Gong army. After the Sui army's front and middle armies escaped from their cages, the rear army was heavily besieged by Wei Gong and fell into siege again. If the current Sui army is led by a general who looks like Bai Qi, then he leaves the rear army and leads the front army and the middle army to retreat. Although the rear army is lost, a large amount of effective strength is still preserved, and the army can be reorganized to fight again. But Zhang Suchuo is not a calm and rational general who treats soldiers as chess pieces. On the contrary, he is rigorous in running the army, has proficient military skills, and pays more attention to love and justice. When he saw that the rear army was surrounded and had already escaped, he led the Chinese army to fight back again without hesitation. The intention was to take the entire army out. What kind of general brings out what kind of soldiers? Most of the former troops who originally ran out rushed back under the leadership of Luo Shixin. Li Mi was overjoyed when he saw it, and quickly ordered Wang Bodang to take his most elite Pushun Gongying to kill him. Soon, the Sui army was once again heavily surrounded by the Weigong army. There is a saying, once it is vigorous, it will weaken again, and 3 times it will be exhausted. The Sui army, once again surrounded, lost hope of breaking out. At this time, everyone understood that the destruction of the Sui army was determined. However, the elite Sui army, although trapped in a tight siege, fought bravely under the leadership of their general. The Weigong army was so anxious that it was difficult to capture it. 3 days later, millions of Sui troops were still standing, but the Weigong army suffered nearly twice as many casualties. Especially there are many elites among them. Li Mi also felt distressed. Pushun Gongying was regarded as the elite of the Great Wall. Zhang Suchuo, Yang Guang is cruel and unkind and endangers the people. Do you still want to be loyal to such a foolish king? Li Mi's voice penetrated the fighting formation and echoed above the Sui army. Zhang Suchuo, who was wearing black armor and holding a spear, his face trembling, looked at the exhausted army around him who were still fighting hard, and he could not bear it on his solemn face. These are all the disciples who have been following Wang Bo since he wiped out Wang Bo. Seeing that he was wavering, Li Mi quickly said, "Look at your soldiers. They also have wives and children at home, as well as old parents who need support. Do you have the heart to let them die with you for the sake of your loyalty?" "This guy is really despicable, son," she said angrily. Su Junming stared at Zhang Suchuo. Li Mi's method of attacking the heart was indeed despicable, but in a different place, he would choose the same method as Li Mi. The one who wants to win must do everything possible to win, no matter what method he uses. Zhang Suchuo's expression changed drastically. "Commander, this is Li Mi's way of attacking the heart. You must not fall into the trap," Qin Kaiang shouted anxiously. As a general, he knew Zhang Suchuo's temperament very well. He has a strong personality and is not afraid of power. He is brave and resourceful in battle and can be considerate of his soldiers. Although he is cold and unreasonable on the surface, he values love and justice. If it weren't for the supervisor Zhao Yuanji, armed with the Emperor Shangfang's sword, who insisted on Zhang Suchuo quickly annihilating the Weigong army, they would not have been heavily surrounded and confined to death. Luo Shixin listens to the order. Your troops will be the vanguard and break out to the north. Qin Shubao listens to the order. Your troops will be on the left wing to protect the army. Jiao Wuban obeys the order. Your troops will be on the right wing to protect the central army. The whole army breaks through, and I will cut off the rear for you. Commander. Military orders are like mountains, and those who don't obey will be killed with force. Zhang Suchuo frowned angrily. Qin Kaiang and other trusted generals gritted their teeth and led the army to break through to the north. Zhang Suchuo led his personal guard camp to stay behind. Hold them off. Of course, Li Mi couldn't let this turtle in the urn escape. Wang Bodang raised the giant bow in his hand and fired 3 arrows in a row, like 300-foot-long rainbows, spanning thousands of feet, flying straight towards Qin Kaiang, Luo Shixin, and Jiao Wuben. You dare! A roar. 3 tyrannical spear lights shot up into the sky, and with a bang, the arrow branches were smashed into pieces. Looking at the swarming Weigong army, the spear in Zhang Suchuo's hand glowed with divine light. In an instant, a 10,000-foot-long divine spear appeared in mid-air like a huge pillar. The mighty gun light flashed with red divine light, and the powerful energy and blood were like the scorching sun in the sky. Xie Yingdeng, one of the 5 tiger generals of Weigong who was leading the army in pursuit, changed his face and immediately roared, "Snake formation." The hundreds of thousands of troops under his command were glowing with divine light, and a large banner with the word "Thank you" behind him rose fiercely. Within a moment, a huge red snake thousands of feet tall appeared in mid-air. This giant snake coiled up into a snake formation, protecting hundreds of thousands of soldiers below. At this moment, the 10,000-foot-long divine spear came down. Boom! Divine light bursts, clear sky and dry thunder. The red giant snake was smashed to pieces, and thousands of masters were instantly shaken to pieces under the tyrannical force. Countless people vomited blood and died. As the commander-in-chief, Xia Yingdeng, who was highly cultivated, also lost blood and was seriously injured. The low-level general's attack shocked the scene instantly. The Weigong troops who were about to encircle them were overwhelmed by their momentum and stopped moving forward. Zhang Suchuo took a breath, and the boiling blood in his body calmed down a little. He raised his spear upside down and looked coldly at the pursuing Weigong army with eyes as sharp as a knife. Although there is only one person, it is better than thousands of troops. Li Mi saw it and felt angry in his heart. All the troops obeyed the order and strangled Zhang Suchuo. Anyone who dared to retreat would be killed without mercy. Angry voices echoed above the army. Su Siji, Shan Xiangzin, Wang Junk, Yu Junda, Wang Bodang, Xia Yingdeng, Du Wenzhong, Shi Danai, Zhang Gongjin and others led the Weigong army and charged forward. Zhang Suchuo led more than 10,000 soldiers around him, charging left and right. The tens of thousands of feet of spears were invincible to those who blocked them, and they blocked more than half of Weigong's army. Qin Kaiyan, Luo Shixin, and Jiao Wuben waited for the Sui army to move forward crazily and gradually broke out of the encirclement. You will lead the army to leave as soon as possible, and I will stop the rear for you. Commander. Qin Kaiyan and others saw that Zhang Suchuo was determined to die. Knowing the importance, they gritted their teeth and waited for the Sui army to retreat towards the north. Weigong's army chased them one after another, but they were all blocked by Zhang Suchuo. Li Mi's face was livid. He allowed these elite Sui troops to escape today, but he didn't know how much it would cost to eradicate them in the future. Seeing Zhang Suchuo under heavy siege, I felt even more hateful. This beast must be captured and killed. Su Siji, Shan Xiangzin, Wang Junk, and others led large armies to surround Zhang Suchuo. Alone, they were no match for the latter, but with their military formation and the power of millions of Weigong's elite troops, they suppressed Zhang Suchuo, making it difficult for him to escape. This battle lasted for nearly 7 days. Only then did Zhang Suchuo really run out of oil. He alone killed nearly 1 million Weigong generals. Weigong generals Qi Biao, Li Bao, and Shang Huazhong died in battle. Looking at the numerous troops surrounding him, Zhang Suchuo, who had no strength left, smiled sadly. Your Majesty, Sui dynasty, Zhang Suchuo is loyal to you. Seeing the Weigong army getting closer and closer, his vision went dark and his body fell backwards. When he woke up again, a rocky roof came into view. Subconsciously raising his hand, a familiar feeling came to his heart. I'm not dead. Looking around, he found that he was in a stone house, and he was lying on the only stone bed in the stone house, with tiger skin underneath him, but he didn't feel cold at all. There was no furniture in the stone house, except for 3 stone futons placed not far away. After looking into his body silently, most of his energy and blood had recovered. However, my spirit has never been better, and the hidden wounds left in my body during my previous martial arts training have also disappeared. I got up from the stone bed and was about to get off. There were footsteps outside. Soon, a huge figure walked in. What a strong man! The person who came was nearly 10 feet tall, with broad shoulders and a round waist, with short hair on his head, thick eyebrows and big eyes, and a naive expression with a hint of childishness. Seeing Zhang Suchuo sitting up, his eyes lit up. You're awake. He got out of bed, clasped his fists, and said respectfully, May I ask my benefactor's name? Although he could not see this person's cultivation level, he must be someone with great supernatural powers who could rescue him from being surrounded by Weigong's army. The tall man scratched his head. My name is Chen Ling, it was my master who saved you. May I ask where your respected master is? Zhang Suchuo wants to go in person to express his gratitude. You come with me. Excuse me. Zhang Suchuo followed, and the two of them left the stone house and found themselves in a dense forest. Follow Chen Ling around the stone house and go backwards, only 200 or 300 meters forward, before a cliff appears in front of him. The green mountains in the distance, the red sun hanging high, and the blue sky for thousands of miles, are indeed a good scenery. Sitting on the boulder on the edge of the cliff was a Taoist wearing a green Taoist robe, a green gourd hanging around his waist, and his hair tied with a gold ring on the back of his head. Zhang Suchuo took 2 steps forward and bowed down before Chen Ling could speak. Zhang Suchuo thanks Taoist master for saving his life. Zhi Zhang, this is my master, Chen Ling said quickly. Master. Su Junming turned around and looked at the number 1 general in the late Sui dynasty. At the end of the war that day, when he was killed by Wei Gong's army, he originally intended to save him, but Sun Shi took action faster than him and saved Zhang Suchuo. Thanks to Book Friend Clan and Memories for the reward of 1,500 starting coins, and Book Friend Mai for the reward of 100 starting coins. Thank you very much. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 908. Are you feeling better? Su Junming asked. It's no longer serious. Many thanks to the virtuous master and apprentice for saving his life. Zhang Suchuo is grateful. Su Junming smiled and nodded, stretched out his hand, and the waves of earth rolled beside him. In a moment, a stone pier took shape. Sit down and talk. After saying thank you, Zhang Suchuo sat down with his sword straight, his back straight. His many years of military career have integrated everything about being a warrior into his bones. Now the whole world thinks you have died in the battle. Seeing Zhang Suchuo's surprise, Su Junming smiled faintly, stretched out his hand, and a white spiritual light spread out, quickly turning into a water mirror about 10 feet in size. What he saw in the water mirror was the scene when he was fighting that day. But after seeing him lose strength after fighting hard until he fell into coma, a spear flew towards him like lightning and penetrated his chest. A tall and thin warrior with a ferocious expression on his face. He knew this man, Su Shiji, the most scheming among the generals in Wei Gong. Then a bright sword flashed, and his head was chopped off. His head was grabbed by a strong hand and raised high. The bright red blood reflected a fanatical and ferocious face of a strong man with a long beard on his chin. Zhang Suchuo, who had clashed with Wei Gong many times, was no stranger to this person either. Wang Zhengquo, the general of the 5 tigers of Wei Gong, the big sword and beautiful beard. At this point, the scene in the water mirror stopped abruptly. In his surprised eyes, the scene quickly regressed back to the time when he was unconscious. This time, he clearly felt that everything in the picture had slowed down. The moment he fell, a big black hole suddenly appeared behind him. An invisible suction force pinched his body and swallowed him instantly. A ray of light flew out of the black hole, and after sinking into a corpse not far away from him, the latter instantly transformed into his appearance, and even the armor and robes were all similar. Then he was shot through the chest and decapitated with a knife. Once here, the water mirror turns into light and dissipates. Do you understand? Zhang Suchuo nodded. However, everything was accomplished in a blink of an eye, and using a simple dead body, he was able to deceive the Wei Gong generals at the general level or Yuan Yang level, which shows that the master and disciple must have reached an unimaginable level of cultivation. What are your plans for the future? After. Zhang Suchuo's eyes became confused. He could not go back to Sui dynasty. Moreover, in the past few years, he has been extremely disappointed with the Sui dynasty. His previous death in battle at Dahai Temple was considered as repaying Emperor Yang of the Sui dynasty for his kindness. Looking back on his decades of military career, a feeling of exhaustion suddenly came over him. At the same time, the voices and smiles of his wife and son appeared before his eyes. Over the years, he fought in all directions for his fame. When his two wives died, he never had time to return home to pay their respects. Now he just wants to let go of everything and return to the home that makes him feel at ease. Back to the real person, Zhang Suchuo is willing to let go of everything, return to his hometown, and never set foot in the court again for the rest of his life. Su Junming smiled and nodded. The right hand points diagonally. Look. Looking in the direction of the finger, there was no trace of color in the blue sky. Just when he hesitated and wanted to ask, a black spot suddenly appeared in the sky. The black spot quickly enlarged and was close to him in an instant. After landing, a skinny monkey wearing a tiger skin skirt, lined with yellow shorts, and a furry face and a thunderous mouth appeared. Hey, you're awake. Zhang Suchuo understood instantly. Are you your benefactor? I, old son, saw that you were a man and it would be a pity to die. So I used some tricks to rescue you, son, she said with a smile. Zhang Suchuo pushed the golden mountain and knocked down the jade pillar, and he fell to his knees. Zhang Suchuo thanks his benefactor for saving his life. Sun Shi jumped away quickly, waved a magic power with his right hand, and lifted Zhang Suchuo up. Get up, I, the old man, hate it the most. People shed tears in front of me, especially you are a grown man. Get up, get up. Zhang Suchuo stood up straight, his face full of gratitude. That's right. My old grandson has traveled thousands of miles to bring you some gifts. In an instant, a small mountain covered with clouds and fog appeared above the head. Several rays of light flew out from it and landed on the ground, transforming into a man, 2 women, and 2 children. Daddy. Yunsu, Yunsheng. Looking at his son and daughter, Zhang Suchuo became excited instantly. The father and son hugged each other and cried. Zhang Suchuo's wife died early, leaving him with only 1 son and 1 daughter, who has been living in his hometown. After crying enough, the daughter-in-law who was waiting next to her came over with her 2 grandchildren. As a member of a family, there is naturally endless things to say. Su Junming left with Sun Shi and Chen Ling, leaving space for the Zhang family. The 3 masters and apprentices returned to the stone room below. With the grace of saving my life and the love of being a member, as expected, this Suchuo will be your 3rd disciple. Sun Shi smiled. It's rare to meet someone who cares about a disciple. Judging from his qualifications and understanding, he is also very good. I just wonder if he can pass the test of Kongshan's core disciples. You'll know after you try it. So I'm going to have a junior brother soon, Chen Ling said in surprise. You silly boy, the youngest is the most favored, Su Junming said with a smile. Then I would also like to be a senior brother, Chen Ling said with a naive smile. You need to practice hard for me first. You're not even a general, so why are you so embarrassed to be a senior brother? Chen Ling's smile faltered, and his expression instantly dropped. But he soon became determined again. I will definitely be able to overcome the tribulation and advance to the level of a military commander, and surpass my junior brother as soon as possible. The most taboo thing about martial arts is eagerness for quick success. With your qualifications, as long as you practice step by step, there will be no problem in advancing to the realm of general, or even spiritual general in the future. If you are impetuous and eager for quick success, you will sooner or later be taken advantage of by your inner demons, and you will suffer for many years. Xiaohua is like running water. Chen Ling's expression turned solemn. Disciple, please remember the teachings of our ancestors. Su Junming nodded slowly. They're back. After a while, there were chaotic footsteps outside. The Zhang family walked in under the leadership of Zhang Suchuo. Knowing that Sun Shi didn't like to kneel down, he took his family and bowed deeply. Zhang Suchuo would like to thank the immortal for his kindness. If there is any mission in the future, Zhang will definitely die without hesitation. Get up, everyone, get up. After Zhang Suchuo and his family got up, Sun Shi continued. Who taught you your martial arts skills? The ancestor of the younger generation is Zhang Wen, a captain of the Eastern Han dynasty. His family has a long history, so he has acquired martial arts. So you don't have any masters? Yes. Zhangguo, old son, see that you are a talented person and your temper is to my liking. I intend to accept you as my disciple. Are you willing? Sun Shi was a straightforward person and asked directly without beating around the bush. Out of the expectations of Su Junming and the others, Zhang Suchuo knelt down. Disciple pays homage to his mentor. Then there are 3 kowtows. You don't ask whether we are good or evil, yet you are willing to become a disciple, Su Junming said with a smile. My mentor has given me a great life-saving grace, and Zhang Suchuo should repay it. As for good and evil, I have the ability to distinguish right from wrong. If it is good, I will follow it, if it is evil, I will reject it. If I die because of resisting the teacher's orders, no regrets. After all, this life was saved by my mentor, so it's only right to take it back. Haha, you must have thought clearly. Su Junming nodded with a smile. Our Chongshan Academy is a major Taoist sect, a famous and authentic sect, respected by the world. We have always taken eliminating demons and defending Tao as our own responsibility, and seeking truth from facts and investigating things. The purpose is to achieve knowledge and equality for all living beings. Coming to my door is a great opportunity for you, and you will definitely benefit from it in the future. Yes, Zhang Suchuo remembers it. Sun Shigong was about to use the Hunyuan divine sect to test Zhang Suchuo, when suddenly a stream of light flew from outside. Su Junming stretched out his hand and released the restrictions of the stone house. The light flew in, fell into Su Junming's hand, and turned into a piece of letter paper. Master, what's the matter? Quanzhen Taoist Supreme Elder Songfeng Taoist Fijian sent a message, inviting me to go to Zongnan Mountain for a gathering. It's been less than 2 years since this old Taoist left after listening to Third Master Uncle's sermon. Why did he come to invite me again? Sun Shi said. The reason was not mentioned above, but since they have spoken, it doesn't matter if they go. Zhang Suchuo was secretly surprised when he heard this. Although he is not a member of the Taoist sect, he also knows that the most powerful sect in the Sui dynasty cultivation world is the Quanzhen Tao of Zongnan Mountain. The leader, Kong Guiyang's son Wang Chongyang, and the Supreme Elder Songfeng Taoist were Taoist masters respected by the entire Sui dynasty cultivation world. Listening to the exchange between master and grandmaster just now, they treated each other as equals in words. And judging from what that means, Taoist Matsukaze has also listened to the sermons of the founder of our sect. If everything is true, then isn't his new disciple also a major Taoist sect? A vague expectation rose from the bottom of my heart. Water flows to lower places, and people move to higher places. The latter is nature. Zongnan Mountain, also known as Xiandu Mountain, is the most blessed place in Nanzan Buzhu and is also the location of the famous Quanzhen Taoist ancestral court in the world of cultivation. Cao Qinzi and Lu Jingziu, the founders of Quanzhen Taoism, are rumored to be members of the Yun Zongzi disciples, inheriting the Yuking Taoism. But even so, the relationship with the Yuntai immortal sect, which also inherits the Yun Zongzi tradition, is not very close. On this day, there were 4 more Taoist customs on the mountain road leading to the Chongyang Wanchao Palace at the top of Zongnan Mountain. It was none other than master and disciple Su Junming who came from the Central Plains. Master, it's quite lively here. Sun Shi smiled as he looked at the endless stream of pilgrims walking up the mountain road. Although Quanzhen Tao is a spiritual sect, it also has a great influence in the secular world. Hee, it's definitely far behind our Chongshan Academy. Su Junming smiled. Chongshan Academy directly controls the secular world. There are no mortals, only monks. Master, look, they are coming. Looking in the direction of Sun Shi's finger, more than a dozen spiritual lights flew from the top of the mountain. In a moment, they came close, the light disappeared, and a dozen Taoists walked out. The leader was none other than Xue Daoguang, the Xixian Genren who had been practicing for thousands of years and went to Lingling County with Taoist Songfeng to listen to the Dragon Emperor's sermon. Seeing Su Junming, he quickly took 2 steps forward. Xue Daoguang pays homage to Master Chongshan. Although his cultivation level is the same as that of Su Junming, who is a Tai Golden Immortal, Su Junming is of the same generation as his master Songfeng Taoist, so Xue Daoguang naturally has to greet him with the courtesy of a junior. No need to be polite. Is your respected master here? My mentor and master are already at Qingsong Ziazu to welcome the master. Lead the way. Please, please. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 909. Chapter 890, Songfeng's Invitation, Chongyang Longevity Palace. Led by Xue Daoguang, the group pushed away the clouds and flew straight towards the back mountain of Zongnan Mountain. When the pilgrims around saw this scene, they couldn't help but look envious. Flying into the sky and escaping from the earth is the dream of every living being. Unfortunately, Taoist practice and Buddhism all focus on qualifications, understanding, and chance. Only those who are destined can receive the true teaching, and those who are not destined will waste their lives and do nothing. From mid-air, you can clearly see the many palaces on the top of Zongnan Mountain hidden among the rocks of Sanzu Mountain. At its highest point, there is a magnificent palace that is hundreds of feet tall, reflecting the skylight, catching the clouds below, and blooming with thousands of golden lights. Looking from a distance, I can see 5 characters engraved on the huge plaque. Chongyang Longevity Palace. This is the most famous and important palace of Quanzhen Taoism in Zongnan Mountain. Xue Daoguang led the 4 masters and apprentices of Su Junming and flew over the Longevity Palace to the back mountain. If the scenery of the front mountain is majestic, showing the majesty and magnanimity of the Taoist sect, then the scenery of the back mountain is the beauty of springs and waterfalls, the beauty of blooming flowers, the tranquility of the connection of bamboos and trees, and the agility of the cries of auspicious animals. It fully shows the elegance of the fairyland. Xue Daoguang flew into a pine forest with his master and apprentice. The old pines with dry stems and branches are growing in knots, full of strange and interesting things. In the middle of the pine forest, a simple wooden house appeared in the eyes of Su Junming and others. In the yard in front of the wooden house, a middle-aged man wearing a purple Taoist robe, a feather coat and a high crown, with a thin face, 3 strands of long beard on his chin, and a majestic and steady temperament first came into view. Taoist Songfen next to him had already met him last time in Lingling City. Thank you, Taoist friends Chongyang and Songfen, for welcoming me in person. Su Junming is frightened. Fellow Taoist Su is serious. It is truly an honor for our monks to come to Mount Zongnan. Wang Chongyang was also looking at the already famous Su Daoren in front of him. Wearing a fitted green robe, with a green gourd tied on a gold rope around his waist, and a pair of dormant shoes under his feet, they were spotless. With thick eyebrows and big eyes, his Chinese character face is 3/4 calm, 3/4 majestic, and 4/4 indifferent. The eyes were clear in black and white, and the deep look in them, although not flashy, was like a bottomless abyss, making it impossible for people to pry into it. The temples are gray, showing a bit of vicissitudes of life. The remaining long black hair is not tied into a bun, but hangs casually on the back of the head, tied up by a gold ring. His temperament is elegant and somewhat solemn. Simply standing there, your body seems to blend into nature. It was obvious that although the person in front of him was only a Tai Golden Immortal, his understanding of the Great Dao had already entered the Great Luo realm. All practitioners understand that the power of Dharma is easy to cultivate, but the realm is difficult to realize. If you can comprehend Taoism to the Delugo state, there is at least a 50% chance that you will achieve Delugo in the future. If this is the case, there will be 3 great Lugo in Chongshan Academy. Thinking of this, he, who originally attached great importance to Su Junming's visit, took it even more seriously. Moreover, there are 8 first-generation disciples of Chongshan Academy. The current boss, Chongshan Zhenjun Su Junming, is only a Tai Golden Immortal, but he has the experience of being equal to the Delugo Celestial Immortal. Dragon Emperor, the 3rd and 5th True King, has advanced to Delugo. The 5th Tai Zhenjun has also advanced to Delugo. The remaining second child, Yin Yang True Lord Renwuji, briefly served as the Heavenly Court's Lianji Dangmo True Lord, but later left. Rumor has it that he is also at the Tai realm. But there is still no news about the remaining 4th child, as well as the 6th, 7th, and 8th children. No one knows what their cultivation level is. The more unknown, the more deterrent it is. The outside world speculates that among these first-generation disciples of Chongshan Academy, there is at least one Delugo. Of course, a guess is always a guess. Wang Chongyang believed what he saw even more. Fellow Taoist, please. Please. The group of people climbed up the steps and walked into the wooden house. The furnishings inside are very simple. There was nothing else but a few futons. This place is a place for poor Taoists to achieve enlightenment. It's a bit crude. I hope fellow Taoists won't be surprised, Wang Chongyang said. You're welcome, fellow Taoist. I, a Taoist monk, respect the nature of heaven and earth. We take mountains and forests as our friends, pine trees and bamboos as our friends, morning glow and mist as our companions. We eat in the wind and drink in the dew, and we only pursue the great road. A place of wealth and luxury is like a cesspit to me. On the contrary, a simple and natural place like a Taoist friend is the most precious place for my Taoism, Su Junming said. Haha, fellow Taoist is really my best friend. I wish I could have made friends with you earlier. It's not too late to meet you today. What fellow Taoist said is true. In the future, Quanzhen Taoism and Chongshan Academy will become brothers and work together to maintain the peace of Nanzan Buzhu Taoist Gate. Wang Chongyang deliberately emphasized the words Nanzan Buzhu Daemin. Of course, Su Junming understood the meaning of his words, it was just that he didn't want them to fall to the Yuntai immortal sect. For hundreds of thousands of years, both parties have been claiming to the outside world, intentionally or unintentionally, that they are the orthodox Yunzong and the direct descendants of Yuking. Although there has been no major conflict, they seem to be inseparable. Smile lightly. What fellow Taoist Wang said is true. Chongshan Academy has always been the gate of Nanzan Buzhu Taoism, and it should be aligned with Quanzhen Taoism to jointly maintain the peace of Nanzan Buzhu cultivation world. The ambiguous words made Wang Chongyang frown slightly. Of course, he also understands that it is obviously impossible to get the other party to take sides with just a few words. This matter has a long way to go, and there is no rush. Thinking of this, he smiled and nodded. What fellow Taoist Su said is exactly what Wang is thinking. After looking at each other and smiling, Wang Chongyang waved his hand, and a coffee table appeared in front of him. I heard that fellow Taoist Su likes to drink tea. It happens that our Quanzhen Taoism has a plant of perilla spiritual tea left by our ancestor Yun Zongzi. It is the ultimate spiritual root of Tai, and it has endless mysteries. I ask senior brother Songfeng to pick some, and I would like to ask fellow Taoist Su to taste them today. I have long heard about the reputation of Quanzhen Taoists' perilla spirit tea. I am truly lucky to be able to drink it today. Haha, if fellow Taoist likes it, I will give you 1 or 2 as a gift. How does this make? Fellow Taoist, just accept it. It will be a small reward for the poor Taoist who listened to Taoist friend Long's sermon last time, Taoist Songfeng said with a smile. My senior brother has spoken. He has been taking care of this perilla spirit tea. He opened his mouth. If fellow Taoist Su refuses again, he will be in trouble. Since the two fellow Taoists are so kind, Su Junming feels ashamed to accept it. That's right. Come on, please. With a wave of Wang Kongyang's hand, 4 cups of tea flew into the hands of Su Junming, Sun Shi, Chen Ling, and Zhang Suchuo. Please. Su Junming took a gentle sniff, and the quiet fragrance of tea penetrated into his heart. His mind was instantly clear, and the magic power in his danshan also trembled. It seems that this tea can increase mana. Because of the existence of the creation spiritual pond, he also cultivated many tea species. Now they have advanced to the Tai realm. Although it is not as high grade as this purple perilla spiritual tea, it is still a middle or lower grade Tai spiritual tea. As long as he absorbs the spiritual energy of creation for a few more years, as well as the innate spiritual energy of Taishu emitted by Huang Zhongli, Polygonum multiflorum, etc., he can continue to return to his ancestors, and it is almost certain that he will become the ultimate spiritual root of Tai in the future. It is not impossible to become a Deluo level acquired spiritual root. Therefore, he also has some research on tea. Regardless of the type of tea, it can be roughly divided into 3 types: green tea, black tea, and dark tea. Green tea refreshes the mind, increases understanding, and enables people to understand Taoism and mystery. It is very precious. Black tea can increase energy, increase mana, and can make people improve their cultivation. It is the second most precious. Black tea contains the ability to relax muscles and activate blood circulation, which can increase other people's qi and blood, making it precious again. In fact, black tea and black tea have the same effect, but there are more qi practitioners, and there are more monks and less porridge, so they are naturally more precious. Gudu. Before Su Junming could taste it, there was a swallowing sound from beside him. When he turned around, his face turned dark. Sun Shi, Chen Ling, and Zhang Suchuo swallowed all the tea in the cup in one gulp, just like a cow chewing peonies. Ha ha, fellow Taoist Su, your disciple is really spontaneous, innocent, and cute. Make Taoist Matsu Kaze laugh. Su Junming was a little embarrassed. Just as Wang Chongyang was about to speak, a wisp of calamity aura floated over. Everyone's expressions changed slightly and they quickly turned their heads to look. But seeing Chen Ling and Zhang Suchuo, they both had signs of breakthrough. As a disciple of Chongshan, with the assistance of the bronze mirror, Chen Ling had long been able to break through to the realm of a military commander. However, due to lack of spiritual energy and Sun Shi's intentional suppression, he was still unable to fully temper his 5 internal organs, leading to a catastrophe. Now after taking this cup of Tai's top-quality spiritual tea, the huge amount of spiritual energy rushed out, and finally he could no longer suppress it. Zhang Suchuo fought a battle outside Xinyang City that day, even though he was exhausted and almost died. But the great terror between life and death also made him break through the barrier of middle general. These days, he has been recovering his cultivation with the help of the elixir given by Su Junming. After drinking a cup of purple perilla tea, the huge spiritual energy in it also allowed him to break through his own realm. Su Junming stretched out his hand and 2 stone gates appeared behind the 2 of them, sucking them in instantly. You are their master, so go in and guard. Sun Shi nodded, bowed his fists to Wang Chongyang and others, and then flew into the Hunyuan Divine Gate. As expected, fellow Taoist disciples are all talented people, Wang Chongyang said. Fellow Taoist Wang, you are just a bunch of vulgar people who don't know etiquette. They are no match for the direct descendants of the Quanzhen Taoist section. Wang Chongyang smiled faintly. It is common for first-time disciples to not know etiquette. If they sit down and practice with Taoist friends for 100 years, they must be no less than the direct descendants of my Quanzhen Taoist inner section. I hope they can reach the realm mentioned by fellow Taoists so that I won't be embarrassed in the future. After looking at him, Wang Chongyang smiled and turned around. The tall, strong man who exudes the aura of military service under my fellow Taoist disciple just now, is he the famous Sui dynasty general Zhang Suchuo? Although Su Junming used magic to deceive Li Mi and the Sui dynasty hall that day, he had no intention of hiding it from the top names in the spiritual world, Deluo Celestials. With the current strength of Chongshan Academy, unless it is a big trouble like the six-eared macaque that affects the energy of the entire prehistoric world, he already has enough strength to protect his disciples. Although Zhang Suchuo was the Optimus Prime of the Sui dynasty military, he was just a small figure in the eyes of all the major sects in the entire Nanzan continent. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 910. Chapter 891, Iron-Blooded Battle Flag, Giant God Armor. The reason why Wang Chongyang asked was not that Wang Chongyang became a disciple of Chongshan. He was worried that Chongshan Academy would interfere in the Sui War. If Chongshan Academy supports the Sui dynasty, then the Sui dynasty, which is now on the verge of collapse, can come back to life in an instant, and maybe it can make things happen again. After all, there are too many disciples under Chongshan sect. After adhering to the practice of studying things to gain knowledge and popularizing it for more than 1,000 years, there are trillions of outer disciples and tens of billions of inner disciples who were born in Chongshan. With a little training, you can easily raise a strong army. Has nearly unlimited war potential. This is a monster that completely combines state and sect. Moreover, it is growing rapidly every moment. So when it was deduced that Zhang Suchuo was alive and had joined Chongshan Academy, he immediately asked Taoist master Song Feng to pass the letter with his sword in person, inviting Su Junming to Zongnan Mountain to have a talk. He wanted to find out the purpose of Chongshan Academy. He also reiterated that the northern part of the Sui dynasty was the sphere of influence of the Quanzhen Tao, and no one else was allowed to interfere. When necessary, he would not hesitate to turn against Chongshan Academy. The king's friendly eyes revealed that the strong man is Zhang Suchuo. Wang Kongyang's pupils shrank. Fellow Taoist, you accept him as a disciple, but you plan to take the opportunity to interfere with the Sui dynasty hall. Haha, fellow Taoist Wang has misunderstood. I have no interest in this mess of the Sui dynasty. If I hadn't met Zhang Suchuo at the right time, he led the troops to fight against the Weigong army. Seeing that he values love and justice and is loyal to the country, I would be very fond of my teacher. If it's just about appetite, I won't save him and let him in. So, Taoist friend only cares about Zhang Suchuo. Of course. That makes me feel relieved. There are rumors outside that Chongshan Academy has accepted Zhang Suchuo, intending to use this as a first step to intervene in the Great Sui dynasty, and then enter the northern central plains to dominate the world. Now it seems that it was just a rumor. Looking at Wang Kongyang's compelling eyes and his words, Su Junming smiled faintly. He was not a fool, and of course he could hear the warning in the other person's words. Don't worry, fellow Taoist, Chongshan Academy has no intention of going north of the Yangtze River. I, Quanzhen Dao, will never enter the south of the Yangtze River. So, we have reached an agreement. Haha, of course. Seeing Wang Kongyang's smiling face, Su Junming also had a smile on his face. No one knows better than him that 200 years later, Jin Shanzi, the second disciple of the Tathagata, will be reincarnated as Tang Santang, completely kicking off the spread of Buddhism to the east. The northern part of the Tang dynasty was the hardest hit area for the spread of Buddhism. Quanzhen Taoism in Zongnan Mountain must bear the brunt. Moreover, the Taoist leader in this world, Tais Hanglajun, and the Buddhist leader Tathagata have already reached an agreement. Even if Quanzhen Tao wanted to oppose it, it could not rely on the power of the entire Tao sect. If nothing unexpected happens, they will hand over most of their sphere of influence in the north in the face of the overwhelming power of Buddhism. Therefore, he and Chongshan Academy had no intention of entering the future northern Tang dynasty to compete with Buddhism. At least until Tai Genjun breaks through the middle stage of Deluo, it's impossible. After getting his promise, Wang Chongyang also changed the topic. After the business was finished, Su Junming, who had no intention of staying any longer, said goodbye. Wang Chongyang tried to persuade him to stay, but when he saw that he insisted on leaving, he personally sent him to the foot of the mountain. Looking at the retreating figure. Senior brother, how much do you think his words are true and how much are they false? After Taoist Songfeng thought for a moment, he shook his head. It's hard to tell. At least now, his words don't seem to be false. Chongshan Academy's power stopped in Jingxiang and never went north. On the contrary, it occupied Xi'an County in the Sui dynasty some time ago. Wang Chongyang nodded. No matter what, keep an eye on them. Yes. Master, I have made a breakthrough, I have made a breakthrough. Chen Ling, who had just come out of the Hunyuan Divine Gate, was shouting and excited. But it is also understandable that although he is tall, he is only a child of 7 or 8 years old and has an immature mind. In contrast, Zhang Suchuo still remained calm even though he had entered the realm of intermediate general that he had dreamed of. After experiencing countless cruel and bloody battles, strife in officialdom, and the warmth of human relationships, his mind has become far beyond that of ordinary people. Not being happy with things and not being sad with yourself is his current state of mind. Grandmaster, look. Chen Ling spread his hands like a treasure. A big stick, about 2 feet long, brass-colored and engraved with mysterious purple patterns, appeared in the palm of his hand. Feel the strangeness in this stick. Is this your destined divine weapon? Chen Ling nodded excitedly. As a giant spirit clan, he has a divine weapon of destiny that suits him best. Before he became a general, this divine weapon had been sealed in his dungeon and could not be taken out. Now that he has successfully advanced, this treasure can finally be used by him. You're lucky kid, you don't have to change weapons anymore. Heavenly weapons and divine weapons have different shapes. They may be swords or knives, but they are always changing. If the divine weapon of destiny is no longer the same as the weapon he is practicing now, he will have to retrain the combat skills suitable for the divine weapon of destiny. In this case, a lot of time will be wasted. However, this is not bad luck. If the awakened divine weapon belongs to a strange weapon and does not have matching combat skills, and you can only learn it by yourself, then you will be truly unlucky. It may be difficult to become an extremely strong person in your lifetime. Fortunately, this situation is relatively rare among the giant spirits. After all, the divine weapons of destiny are also based on the talents of the giant spirits themselves. Chen Ling was lucky. He learned the stick technique from Sun Shi from the beginning, and now the divine weapon of destiny is also a stick. The two sides cooperate to double the power. His eyes swept over Zhang Suchuo, and his calm expression made him nod secretly. His qualifications are not as good as Chen Ling's from the giant spirit clan, but his character is better than his, and his future achievements will be no worse than Chen Ling's. I once promised you that if you achieve a breakthrough in cultivation, I will give each of you a treasure. Now that you have all achieved a breakthrough, Master does not mince words. Opening his left palm, a fierce flag emerged from his palm. The black flagpole was dark and dark, exuding a sense of solidity. The sharp flag tip is as sharp as a spearhead. The black and red flag is triangular in shape, with jagged edges, like the fangs of a beast. Boom! A huge war drum sounded suddenly. The next moment, the sound of people shouting, horses neighing, armor clanking, and neat steps coming from the battle formation followed. Zhang Suchuo had a clever idea in his heart, and subconsciously straightened his back, and an aura of iron-blooded killing rose into the sky. After spending half his life in the military, everything in the military has been engraved in his bones. This iron-blooded battle flag is the top immortal treasure I trained. It contains the 12 forbidden immortals. It matches the soul path and is the treasure of Taoist soldiers. In addition, the souls of the Sui soldiers who died in the battle outside Xinyang County, totaling 2.3 million, are all included in my collection. In the future, you can also command them in battle. With this iron blood flag, unless someone can destroy the soul mark inside, no matter how many times your Dao soldiers die, as long as they have enough spiritual energy, they can be resurrected. Zhang Suchuo looked excited when he saw the battle flag handed to him. Although he has decided not to go to the battlefield and serve the Sui dynasty, is it so easy to give up after many years of military service? Now with this iron-blooded battle flag, he can lead the army in battle again. Thank you, Patriarch, for the treasure. This battle flag can hold 30 million battle souls. You can collect the souls of soldiers to continue filling it. Grand Master, can the strength of these Tao soldiers continue to improve? Su Junming knew what he meant, he wanted elite soldiers. Of course. This battle flag is just a top-notch spiritual treasure. It can upgrade your Taoist soldiers to the Tai realm at most. Enough. Zhang Suchuo said quickly. The Tai realm of the earthly immortal realm is called Great Power, which shows that the number is not many. If he could have more than 2 million Tai, it would be enough for the entire Earth immortal world. Su Junming smiled. When you advance to the rank of general, I will help you refine this iron-blooded battle flag into a great spiritual treasure. Thank you, Patriarch. Go ahead. Zhang Suchuo wanted to retreat, but suddenly noticed the difference in the Patriarch's tone and couldn't help but look over in surprise. Your disciple Luo Shixin will be killed in 6 years. You go and save his life. If he is willing, he can join Kongshan's sect now. One Luo Shixin could not affect the overall situation of the Sui dynasty and the Tang dynasty. It would be the same if he was brought back early or later. In addition, the Sui troops you desperately rescued are all tribes you have led for many years. If they die in battle, you should also collect the iron-blooded war flag. After all, it is an army you have trained yourself, and you can command it more freely. Zhang Suchuo turned to look at his master. Sun Shi nodded towards him. Go. If you encounter difficulties that cannot be solved, you can escape through the Hunyuan Divine Gate. If you really can't escape, you can call your third master uncle. Disciple, please remember this. After bowing deeply, Zhang Suchuo raised his light and flew away through the sky. After watching him leave, a suit of armor appeared in Su Junming's palm. This giant god armor is also a top-notch immortal treasure with unparalleled defense. I'll give it to you for protection. Chen Ling happily took it. Thank you, Patriarch, for this gift. After you advance to the realm of high-level general, the ancestor will train you again. Yes. Let's go. The master and apprentice were restored to 3 persons and continued on the road. Soon we entered the Guanzhong Plain. The Guanzhong Plain is located in Buzhu in the south of the Earth Immortal Realm. It is nearly 10,000 miles of fertile wilderness, nourishing hundreds of millions of people. Li Yuan, who had just entered Chang'an, supported Yang Guang's grandson Yang Yu, who was only 13 years old, as emperor and proclaimed himself king of Tang. At this time, there were Lu Wuzhu and Liang Shidu in the north, Li Gui and Xuezhu in the west, and Wang Shishang Sui dynasty in the east. Under heavy threats, few people were optimistic about Li Tang. What is really attracting the world's attention now is the Weigong army and Li Mi, who have reached the peak of their power after defeating Zhang Suchuo and destroying the most powerful army in the Sui dynasty. But along the way, looking at the settled Guanzhong Plain and the constant flow of carriages and horses on the official road, it can be seen that in just a few months, peace has been restored here. Li Tang's ability to govern local areas is evident. No wonder he was able to dominate the world in the end. It was indeed fate, and capable people emerged in large numbers. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 911. The three masters and disciples all have high levels of cultivation. Although they are walking, they are still one step ahead. It didn't take a long time, but the tall city wall of Chang'an was already in sight. Just as the three masters and apprentices were preparing to hurry up and see the prosperity of this big city in Guangzhou, a man wearing a navy blue robe, with a bun on his head, a long beard on his chin, and piercing eyes suddenly walked out of the station next to him. 100 old men. When he saw Su Junming, he looked at him briefly, then quickly stepped forward and bowed deeply. Yuan Shaochang pays homage to the real person. Yuan Shaochang. Su Junming was startled and looked at him up and down. You know me? Do not know. Why are you blocking my way if I don't know you? Su Junming has the Hunyuan divine sect to suppress the aura all over his body. Even if Deluo Tianxian is in front of him, if he doesn't know him, he won't be able to tell that he is a cultivator. The real person is gifted. Yuan is proficient in Kimen Dunjia. He was just meditating in the post station when he suddenly saw 3,000 feet of purple energy coming from the south. I suddenly knew in my heart that the person who came must be of great importance. He must be a powerful person in the immortal world and a saint in practice. So I hurried out and saw the purple energy emitting from the real person's spiritual platform, so I bowed and paid homage. I see. In Journey to the West, Yuan Shaocheng was able to kill the Dragon King of Jinghe, which shows that his Kimen Dunjia skills were extraordinary. You stopped me to ask for something. Yuan Shaocheng knelt down with a bang. Please be kind to me, Master, and save the life of my son, the Yuan family. With a thought in his heart, a layer of space barrier instantly spread out, separating the three masters, apprentices, and Yuan Shaocheng from the outside world. The people watching the excitement on the surrounding official roads suddenly lost their focus and suddenly became uproar. However, after looking around and finding nothing, he stopped staying and continued towards Chang'an. In the mustard space opened by Su Junming. Get up and speak. Yuan Shaocheng stood up respectfully. Explain the matter in detail and I will decide whether to help you or not. Yes. Master, my Yuan family is a secluded cultivation world in the Xiang Valley of Zongnan Mountain. I am good at Liugia Kimen and divination and hexagrams. Although I have never been able to reach the Tai realm, I have inherited it for nearly 1,000 years. He is quite famous in the cultivation world of Zongnan Mountain. Therefore, many princes in the world, and even powerful people in the cultivation world, come to my Yuan family to ask for advice. But leaking secrets will lead to disaster. Yuan Shaocheng had a look of regret on his face. A month ago, Ao Hong, the Dragon King of Jinghe, came to our door and asked my Yuan family to help me figure out the whereabouts of the top-quality Tai celestial grass Shiputi. If successful, I will give him the Ma Qian lesson written by Zhuge Wuhao as a gift. Zhuge Liang is also a master who is proficient in Kimen Dunjia. He defeated Su Chao in the 8 formations and became famous all over the world. He wrote Ma Qian lesson, which details the magic of Dunjia that he has learned throughout his life. You can imagine the temptation of this wonderful book to the Yuan family. Yuan Shaocheng personally took action and spent 7 days finally figuring out the whereabouts of Tai immortal grass Shiputi. Ao Hong, the Dragon King of Jinghe, also kept his promise and gave Ma Qian lesson to him as a gift. When he got here, his expression suddenly became annoyed and hateful. It turns out that Ao Hong's so-called search for Shiputi is just a hook. The real purpose is to test my Yuan family's Dunjia level. After passing the test, the mastermind behind the scenes appeared. This person calls himself Wanyan Aguda. Su Junming's face changed slightly. Wanyan Aguda? This name was too familiar to him. The Taiju of the Jin kingdom in Chixian Shenzhou had already ascended to the upper world before he went to Chixian Shenzhou. He didn't know where this upper realm was before, but now he is 100% sure that it is the earthly immortal realm. I just didn't expect that I would hear news about this demon here. Yuan Xiaocheng, who was immersed in regret, did not notice the change in Su Junming's expression. With the peak level of Tai Golden Immortal, he restrained the entire Yuan family in one move, and set up a ban, giving us half a year to find the whereabouts of Kongsang Mountain. Kongsang Mountain. Yes. It's a pity that my cultivation is limited. Even if I get the essence of Ma Qian lesson, I still can't find any clues about Kongsang Mountain. Seeing that half a year has passed, if we cannot find out the whereabouts of Kongsang Mountain, the Yuan family will be in trouble. Therefore, Yuan Xiaocheng is spending his life trying to find a way out for my Yuan family. The heavens are pitiful, and the heavens reveal that life is here at Liuyang Station. I have been waiting here for 9 days, and finally I will meet the real person. I hope that the real person can be merciful and save the lives of my Yuan family and the whole family. After the matter is completed, the Yuan family will be grateful. Su Junming pondered for a moment. Your Yuan family is in Zongnan Mountain, just a stone's throw away from Quanzhen Taoism. Why don't you go to Wanchao Palace for help? The ancestors of the Yuan family were once abandoned disciples of the Quanzhen Tao. The ancestors left behind a legacy that the descendants of the Yuan family are not allowed to step into the Quanzhen Tao, otherwise they will be expelled from the Yuan family. You are already almost dead, and you still abide by the ancestral precepts. How pedantic, Sun Shi mocked. Yuan Xiaocheng smiled slightly awkwardly and said nothing. Once you violate the ancestral precepts and are kicked out of the Yuan family, you will lose the right to use the Yuan family's treasure Qian Tianbagua, and your level of deduction skills will decline significantly. No one wants to do it unless they have to. Su Junming reached out and grabbed it, and invisible power exploded. In an instant, the purple light in Yuan Xiaocheng's body surged. Surrounded by the rich purple glow, an extremely complex spiritual talisman with a strong sense of curse appeared in front of the 3 masters and disciples. Yuan Xiaocheng looked in pain. As the talisman was pulled out of his body, his internal organs and even his soul were pulled, and a sharp pain rushed into his heart. After a brief look, Su Junming slowly clenched his fist, and the purple talisman's light gradually dimmed, and finally returned to calm. The pain disappeared. Yuan Xiaocheng gasped for air, his forehead covered with sweat. Master, this curse is so overbearing, Sun Shi said solemnly. The curse was so powerful that it was almost the only one he had ever seen in his life. Su Junming nodded. This curse has at a low level. In fact, curse is another application of the path of cause and effect. Since Chen Xianzang, his non-poison soul Taoist body, was born, he has always regarded the Tao of cause and effect as the fundamental Tao. Just because he has been enlightened for a short time, it is still only at the level of Tai realm, which is far inferior to the methods of space, time, creation, and heavenly work. He has already achieved great success. Can you solve it? Natural energy. After all, curses are just techniques, not Tao. With the blessing of understanding brought by the bronze mirror, it is not too difficult to understand this curse. The affirmative answer made Yuan Xiaocheng unable to conceal his joy and said quickly. Please also ask the real person to take action to save my Yuan family. The Yuan family will surely be richly rewarded. Is the person who cursed you really called Wanyan Aguda? Exactly. Is he looking for Kongsang Mountain? Yuan Xiaocheng nodded. Su Junming himself is also good at the secret method. After using the secret divine ball to calculate for a while, he found no news at all. It seems that there must be a big secret in Kongsang Mountain. Now that his understanding of destiny has reached the peak of Tai, with the help of the Tianji divine ball, he should be able to get some clues. But now, no matter how he calculated, he didn't have any clues about Kongsang Shan. This means that Kongsang Mountain is at least a place left over from ancient times, not in the earthly immortal world and the heavenly realm. You come to show me the way. Pandeo goes to your Yuan's house to have a look. With that said, Su Junming closed the space barrier. Yuan Xiaocheng looked overjoyed. Taoist master, please follow me. Yuan Xiaocheng led the way in front and flew straight to the southwest. Not long after, the tall and majestic Zongnan Mountain, with its undulating mountains, was already in sight. As a Taoist holy land, in this mountain that spans 3 trillion miles, there is not only one sect of the Quanzhen sect, but there are also many sects of the Tai inheritance and the Yuanyang inheritance, and there are even more unknown small sects. Nearly half of them are related to Quanzhen Taoism. Either it was a branch of Quanzhen Taoism, or it was built by casual cultivators who had attended Quanzhen Taoism. Most of the techniques are from the Yuking school. The Yuan family is also one of the thousands of sects living in Zongnan Mountain, but they are inherited from the family and have only a small number of people. They only occupy a seemingly ordinary valley on the outskirts of Zongnan Mountain. Flying into the valley, a spiritual light flashed on the jade plaque on Yuan Xiaochen's waist, ripples appeared in the semi-empty space, and soon a pale blue cave entrance appeared. Please, please. Su Junming took Sun Qi and Chen Lingfei in, and was surrounded by several times the spiritual energy. The valley looks ordinary from the outside, but there is something special inside. A river 10 feet wide winds through the valley, with melons and fruits planted on both sides. Not far away is a flourishing grain field, surrounded by tall pines and cypresses. A village of about 300 to 400 households was built on a high ground. Looking at everything in front of me, a sense of tranquility and serenity came to me, as if I was in a paradise. This place hides the wind and gathers qi. It is a rare blessed place. Thank you, Master. Zongnan Mountain is the #1 cave in Nanzan Buzhu. There are many places like the Yuan family. Su Junming smiled and didn't say much. Please, please. The master and apprentice Su Junming landed at the entrance of the village. When a farmer with a hoe saw Yuan Xiaocheng, he quickly bowed and saluted. After nodding in greeting, the farmer quickly left. The Yuan family has been here for nearly 1,000 years. Not all disciples of the Yuan family have the qualifications to practice, so most of them are ordinary people here. Su Junming nodded. Although Chongshan Academy educates all living beings and spreads spiritual practice, more than half of the people, limited by their qualifications and understanding, will waste their lives in the realm of foundation building. The remaining 45% will stop at innateness. Only 5% can truly survive the catastrophe and advance to the golden elixir. Golden elixir is a real watershed. Unlike innateness, if you have a little perseverance, you can survive it. But Jin Dan's calamity test was like a guillotine, and he almost ended up in a state of despair. Therefore, unless there are outstanding people, there are very few people who dare to survive the heavenly tribulation. The number of cultivators who will become nascent soul later is 1 in 1,000. The person who achieves Yuan Shen is 1 in 10,000. But those who can achieve the Yuan Yang Wonderland suddenly reach 1 millionth. Different from the heavenly tribulations of Jindan, Yuan Ying, and Yuan Shen, the tribulation of becoming an immortal includes the tribulation of inner demons. Those who are not in a good mood will never pass. In short, the higher the realm, the fewer monks there are. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 912. Yuan Xiaocheng walked into the village with his master and apprentice. It was obvious that he had a high status, and everyone who passed by him saluted him. Squeak, the front courtyard door opened, and a handsome young man wearing a navy blue robe and a bun came out. He looks young, but he has already become a Yuan Yang heavenly immortal. His eyes quickly swept over Su Junming and others. Third uncle, are you back? After nodding with a smile, he waved. Master, this is my nephew Yuan Tiangang. Tiangang, come and see the real person. As a direct descendant of the Yuan family, Yuan Tiangang knew the reason why his third uncle left. He looked at the green-robed Taoist in front of him who looked younger than himself. Can he really solve the misfortune of my Yuan family? Although he was doubtful, he still saluted respectfully. Yuan Tiangang meets the real person. No need to be polite. Su Junming looked at the young man in front of him. During the Sui and Tang dynasties, one of the most famous sorcerers was Li Chunfeng, who has now become a disciple of Chongshan, and the other is Yuan Tiangang, who I didn't expect to see here. With this son, the Yuan family can ensure its prosperity for thousands of years. Thank you for the compliment, Master. Tiangang is still far from enough. After a few simple polite words, the group arrived at the ancestral hall in the center of the village. The Yuan family, who had received the news earlier, were already waiting outside. Yuan Xiaocheng walked quickly to an old man wearing gyi, holding a wooden staff, with white beard and hair, and bright eyes. Clan leader, this is the saint I found at Liuyang station. After Yuan Bonk nodded slightly, his eyes had already focused on Su Junming. He has a calm temperament and a certain dignity when walking. He does not look like an ordinary person. But with his cultivation as a Yuan Yang Golden Immortal, he didn't sense any magic power from this person. However, he believed that Yuan Xiaochen's calculation ability would definitely not be wrong. But it was different for the dozens of Yuan family members who followed. Although he didn't openly question it, the suspicion on his face was clearly visible. Yuan Bonk, the head of the Yuan clan, pays homage to the real person. Do you dare to ask for his name? Sun Shi, who had long disliked the Yuan family's suspicion of his mentor, said directly. Listen carefully, my master's surname is Su, his abbreviation is Junming, and his Taoist name is Taoist Chongshan Zhenjun. He is the headmaster of my Chongshan Academy. He is the Buddha of the West and the Jade Emperor of Heaven. When he saw it, he also treat each other with courtesy. Su Junming, who was overtaken by Sun Shi, did not speak again. Before the words were spoken, the Yuan family members were already filled with horror. Although they are just a small family, it does not mean that they are ignorant of the major events happening in the practice world. Su Junming, the true king of Chongshan, tied with Bai Ying, the ancestor of the White Tiger. Tai Zhenjun Wu Shen Yaoqiu fought against Manjushri Bodhisattva, and both sides were evenly matched. The five virtues true monarch, Dragon Emperor, achieved Deluo, preached in Lingling County, and benefited hundreds of millions of monks. If the Yuan family was not cursed and it was difficult to make the trip, they would definitely leave. There is also what happened recently, which shocked the world. Chongshan Academy swept across the Taiyan Ghost sect and killed the Taiyan Ghost Emperor Tua Bafeng. One by one, Chongshan Academy has become the largest Taoist sect in Nanzan province that can rival Quanzhen Taoism. The real person is Su Junming, the true lord of Chongshan, Yuan Bonk said in disbelief. Smile lightly. Su Junming unlocked the seal on his body. In an instant, a powerful momentum like a mountain or a sea surged out. It's like a huge wave, sweeping invincibly. As soon as they fired, Yuan Bonk, Yuan Xiaocheng, Yuan Tiangang and other Yuan family members took a deep breath with pale faces. Looking at the calm-looking green-robed Taoist in front of him, he looked in sincere awe. Too strong. In an instant, it seemed as if an ancient giant mountain appeared in front of them. That majestic and unshakable, awe-inspiring and inviolable tyranny makes people have the urge to kneel down and worship him. After calming down, a strong joy rose from the bottom of my heart. If Chongshan Academy is invited to help, there is absolutely no need to worry about the fate of the Yuan family, even if it cannot be resolved overnight. Please come in, real person. Su Junming was respectfully welcomed into the ancestral hall and sat in the most prominent position. Serve the Yuan family's best tea. Yuan Xiaocheng already told me what happened to your Yuan family when you came here. The person who is embarrassing you is really called Wanyan Aguda. Is he looking for Kong Sang Shan? Exactly. Yuan Bong said respectfully. How many days are left until the deadline, he said. 3 days. It had been a long time, and Su Junming was unwilling to wait any longer. Call all of you who are cursed here. Yuan Bong did not dare to neglect, and quickly asked Yuan Tiangang to ring the bronze bell at the entrance of the village to summon the Yuan family. Within half an hour, 600 to 700 people had gathered in the square outside the ancestral hall. Yuan Bong came out with Su Junming. Master, all the cursed people in my Yuan family are here. Sure enough, he has a monster's heart and is extremely ruthless. He actually didn't let anyone go, Su Junming said. All members of the Yuan family, from the 80-year-old man to the 1-month-old baby, were cursed. This is the rhythm in which the whole clan will be destroyed if they don't obey. No wonder Yuan Shaochen was forced to give the Yuan family a glimmer of hope even if it cost him his life. I also ask Master to eradicate this beast and eliminate a great harm to the spiritual world. Su Junming nodded. Keep them all quiet. Yuan Bong did as he was told. Su Junming sat down and activated the bronze mirror, and his understanding instantly increased dozens of times. On the way here, he had been meditating on the curse in Yuan Shaochen's Danshan, and it would undoubtedly be much faster to meditate now. About half an hour later, my heart was shocked and my hands flew up. Auras of spiritual light twine around each other, and divine inscriptions are derived one after another. Gradually, a powerful and mysterious aura bloomed in Su Junming's palm. Suddenly, his eyes widened and he drank. Duh! The silver-white light ball in his hand was like the newborn sun, instantly illuminating the entire Yuanjia village. The villagers who were shrouded in the silver light suddenly felt a lightness in their bodies, as if the stone that had been weighing on their hearts for many years was taken away. Feeling refreshed, a strong joy filled my heart. Yuan Bong, Yuan Tiangang, Yuan Shaochen, and others were even happier. The curse in the Danshan that was so strong that they could not remove it no matter how hard they tried, finally disappeared. Thank you, Master, for saving my Yuan clan members. Yuan Bong is deeply grateful. Seeing the clan leader bowing, the Yuan family members all understood and bowed, their mouths full of thanks. No need to be polite, please get up. After letting the ordinary Yuan family members disperse, Master Su Junming and his disciples were welcomed into the ancestral hall again. Yuan Bong took out a jade box from the magic bag and handed it over with both hands. Master, please save the lives of my entire Yuan family. This small gift is not disrespectful, so please accept it. Su Junming originally refused, but after taking a look at the contents of the jade box, his heart moved and he accepted it. Thank you. You are so polite. It is my Yuan family who should thank you. If it were not for the real person, I am afraid that hundreds of members of my Yuan family would all perish here in 3 days. Defend the city. Clan leader. Arrange it, prepare the banquet, and welcome the real person. Yes, I'll go right away. While the Yuan family was enjoying themselves with Su Junming, they were thousands of miles away in a coral waterside pavilion in the harem of the Jinghe Dragon Palace. Wearing a navy blue robe with a jade belt tied around his waist, the tall and muscular middle-aged man, with a lion's nose and a wide mouth, and a majestic look on his rough face, suddenly opened his eyes. The size is long and polished, stretching 3 feet in the air, and will last a long time. The heart-eating curse I cast on the Yuan family was actually broken? Who is it? After thinking for a moment, he formed a seal with his right hand. Not long after, a ray of light flew in from the outside. A figure wearing a dragon robe, a flat crown on his head, and the body of a dragon appeared on the ground. Ao Hong pays homage to the Lord. Glanced at him. The heart-eating curse I cast on the Yuan family has been lifted. Ao Hong's heart was shocked, and his consciousness subconsciously looked at the heart-eating curse in his Danshan, and complicated emotions surged into his heart. The deep look in front of him made him say quickly, "My lord, the Yuan family definitely does not have such ability. Someone must have helped them. Who do you think it is?" There was no emotion or anger in his calm tone. The Lord's heart-eating curse is so powerful that it cannot be lifted by Daluo monks, and where there are Daluo monks in Guanzhong, there is only the Quanzhen Tao. The ancestors of the Yuan family were once disciples of the Quanzhen Tao. Although there are ancestral trainings, but in the face of a life and death crisis, I'm afraid they can't care so much. So, the Yuan family still hasn't deduced any clues about Kongsang Mountain. Ao Hong said, "I'm afraid it is. Otherwise they wouldn't have violated the ancestral precepts." There was obvious disappointment on the big man's face. He traveled across 4 major continents, searching for monks who were good at deduction, but unfortunately in the end, he still couldn't find the place he dreamed of. "My lord, do you need me to check on the Yuan family's misfortune?" "No need. If you can break the heart-eating curse, you must have extraordinary cultivation. It won't help if you go there. Besides, the Yuan family can't figure out the clues to Kongsang Mountain, and there is no use value. Let them go." "Yes." The big man stood up. "Since the Yuan family has no hope, I will leave. The heart-eating curse in your Danshan will resolve itself in 7 days. Before Ao Hong could speak, the figure of the big man had already disappeared. Looking at the empty coral waterside pavilion, Ao Hong's face turned ugly. "It will resolve itself after 7 days. Who knows whether it will be resolved after 7 days. After staying in the Yuan family for a few days, Su Junming left. "Master, why don't we go after Wanyanaguda?" "Where to chase?" "Of course it's the Jinghe Dragon Palace. Since Ao Hong and Wanyanaguda colluded with each other, they will definitely settle down in the Jinghe Dragon Palace," Sun Shi affirmed. Su Junming shook his head. "Before I activated the curse, he was definitely there. But after I solved the Yuan family's heart-eating curse, as long as he was not stupid, he would have run away long ago. The heart-eating curse is extremely complex and cannot be forcibly broken unless it is a Daluo monk or someone who has successfully comprehended the path of cause and effect. Wanyanaguda didn't know the existence of Su Junming, and it was more likely that he believed that the Yuan family had sought the Quanzhen Tao in order to survive. He was afraid that Konggyangzi or Taoist Songfeng would come to his door, so he naturally had to run away early. It's a pity that this thief escaped." After being taught by Su Junming for many years, Sun Shi was very determined to slay demons. After leaving Chongshan Academy and traveling north, he was responsible for taking care of all the monsters he encountered.